to the Blackout Tips Podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Saturday morning, afternoon, barely, to do some podcasting. Find us.
We present.
Wherever you find podcasts. The official weapon of the show is
folding chair.
And the unofficial sport.
Bullet ball.
And bullet ball. Extreme. Today is a feedback show. We got 2 weeks worth of feedback to get into. Basically, feedback is where our fans write in and tell us what they want to talk about. They reply on our website. They leave comments on our YouTube. They email us. They leave voicemails. All of that stuff. We take the time out of our busy schedule to reply to you guys, and hopefully at some point we get to go home tonight because I'm sure it's going to be long. But we also shout out the people that gave us money, because there's people that go to the website, theblackguywhotips.com, and they're like, hey, I just would like to put some money in y'all's pockets. And they can do that right there on the website on the right-hand side.
Yes,
if you got
can.
a phone, turn your phone sideways. But you can see it on the right-hand column, and we like to make sure that they get a little bit of love. So let me get ready to play their music.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Who Tips.
Today's a new day. That's right. New joins, new coins. We got recurring donations. We got one from Marlon B. Yes, Marlon B. Thank you very much. Wonga from Down Under. Appreciate you, Wonga, for the recurring donation. Tiffany B. Thank you very much to Tiffany B. Palmetto Stone Magic. We appreciate Palmetto Stone Magic coming through. That's always a good look for us. Mariano hit us with that recurring donation as well. Kyle K, recurring donator. We got Jasmine J, recurring donator. Thank you very much, Jasmine. YRD or YR Design also hit us up with that recurring donation. Thank you very much. Alfonso M, thank you, Alfonso. We appreciate you coming through this week. James C, thank you very much, James C, for the recurring donation. David C, the C family is deep up in the house.
And the C's representing.
The C's have it. Dr. Professor Bambi also dropped us off a little something. Kimberly, the Falcons Diva hit us with that recurring donation. You know, she come through. Jason F, appreciate you, Jason, with the recurring. Derek L.W., not to be confused with 3LW, which was a group in the 90s and 2000s.
Yes, sir.
Ken M., thank you very much to Ken. We got Lawrence C., another person from the C family up in here. Zach from Living Corporate Podcast. Thank you, Zach. We appreciate you, brother. Christoph R., thank you for hooking us up, Christoph. Dotstra J., thank you, Dotstra. Appreciate you also. Matthew DW. Thank you very much for that recurring donation. Preston from Team Dro, the Sling of Ages podcast is his podcast. Thank you very much, Preston. Celeste VB. Thank you, Celeste. And lastly, Adam S. You could tell that was 2 weeks worth of shout outs because it took us a while. But thank you so much, everybody, for hooking us up.
Yes.
All right. So that is the people that donated to the show. We also got some 5-star reviews, a couple new ones. 5-star reviews, you can leave them on Apple Podcasts. You can do it through your phone. You can do it through a computer. However you get there. We don't care.
No excuses.
Yeah, we just want the shout outs. And we got a couple over the last week. The first one is from Cheesy Mac, who says, listen to feedback. Greetings, dynamic duo. I was listening to your recent feedback show. When you mentioned the boycott topic, I wanted to chime in about your comments. As a person that has been boycotting companies since Obama first ran for office, I made conscientious choices about not supporting businesses that blatantly disenfranchised us, like the Koch brothers. Over the years, I realized it's complicated because white men own major corporations, so the collective boycott is mostly talk and little action behind it. We are a society of convenience and compromise, and to justify the purchase wins out. It goes beyond the big box stores. How many of the internet activists are still patronizing the high-end designer brands, high-end car brands, NFL, etc.? Like you said, how do we know who's shopping at the boycott stores while saying otherwise?
Right.
We need to do what we can in our groups of like-minded people and stop waiting for someone to lead us. Those days are gone. Yeah, I just feel like everyone's an individual at this point. In many ways, capitalism and white supremacy has succeeded in making people feel that they are individuals, even when people seem to have the goal of a collective pursuit. It is often and I don't mean this in the pejorative way or the colloquial way, I mean this in the literal definition way. That movement is often retarded by the fact that people feel I'm an individual and I can individually achieve a certain status, which puts me on par with whiteness. And it's obviously not something most of us believe. It's obviously not something that is really achievable for everybody, but it has been achievable for some people and some races of people in enough of a way that it does stop the collective organizing. And some people will take the proximity or the something that looks close enough to whiteness and be like, yep, that's it. You know, like where it's just like, hey, I'm not white, but they think I'm a model minority. I'll take that. And so, you know, I'm not white, but I'm light skinned enough, or I'm not white, but in my circles, I run with MAGA people and white people that are my friend groups and stuff. And I feel like that's close enough. I'm going to stop advocating for black people and feeling any kinship to them. So, all that to say, one of the things I think is interesting is in that response you put was internet activists, right? Internet activists. Everybody that's an internet activist by pure necessity, you're already on a platform with one of these white supremacists you're supposed to be boycotting. It just is what it is. America's fucked up like that, and it's insidious and it's infected all of us in every way. I'm not saying you're complicit. I'm just saying, like, if you spread that message on Twitter, that is also Elon Musk's Twitter. If you said it on Facebook, that's Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook. Most places on the internet use Amazon's internet.
Yes, they do.
It's just insidious. Last one is a 5-star review. Says this is from your favorite Noop. It says this podcast may not be for you. If your idea of a good podcast is hosts that jump on sound bites for clicks and no context, this is not for you. Hosts that do a podcast once every few months and leave you hanging, this is not for you. Okay, you're not going to talk about Nick, Jew, and Reggie in front of my face like that.
You're not going to talk about my friends that come on every few weeks. Leave them alone.
That is our friends, and we love them, and I'll
taking
fight you.
Random strays.
Okay?
I love them. They're my people.
The podcast is for you and them, okay? So if they, because then you could listen to us every day, and then when they come through, you know,
it's like a nice little sweet treat.
It's like, oh, they back. Cool.
Yes.
So, you know, I feel like it's a complimentary situation. I know you weren't really talking about Reggie and Nick Jew, so please don't write in. Hosts that jump on a bandwagon when they are wrong sound like one of those lawsuit ads after taking some messed up medication. Call 1-800, my bad. But if you enjoy well thought out, funny, and nuanced conversation, this is the podcast for you. Rod and Karen are arguably the best and most consistent podcast out there. Welcome home and tell a friend. Thank you.
Thank you, baby.
We appreciate the 5-star reviews. They never get old. It's like entering Wakanda, you know. This never gets old. All right, let's get into our website. We had 5 episodes in the last 2 weeks, and you guys had things to say. Episode 3046, well thought out response to craziness. We have 14 comments. Let's see where you started.
I had something to say.
Apia says, most of the new conservatives are Fox News. I call them faux conservatives. I call them faux conservatives now. I told Mr. Apia this week, all of them try to appear to us or seem like us. They are together for 18 years, 2 children, a dog, living in their own house. Most of the successful faux conservatives, sorry, trying to get my words right, hold up this form of living as the absolute ideal. Maybe without me being financially independent, but they themselves don't have this kind of life. For example, the president of Italy, a woman is a daughter of a single mother, and a single mother who was never married and still gives the same talk. A family is a mother and a father and kids. And in America, the conservatives I see today are mostly this way. Yeah, they don't have to live their raps. They just need to promote conservative quote unquote values, which are mostly not really the values that conservatives say they are. It's not.
No.
It's Christian nationalism, but it's couched as religious freedom. But it's obviously not the same. They don't feel that way about Muslims,
Right.
you know. They want Christian values, and their Christian values aren't helping the poor. Their Christian values aren't loving thy neighbor. It's you are a man, you are a woman. There's no such thing as trans. There's no such thing as gay marriage. There's no such thing as sex that's not for procreation. This is what they claim are their conservative values, you know, or this is how their conservative values are practiced. You know, it's yeah, God, thank God for that manger and Bethlehem and those people the innkeeper taking them or whatever, you know, like the people taking them in. And then when you say, what about us and the way we treat immigrants and taking people into America, they're like, fuck those people.
Yes, sir.
So obviously you get elected, you have to go into a conservative drag. Prediction, if I will live to see a female American president, she will be a conservative. When you look around the world, female leaders of countries are mostly conservative. Frau Merkel was conservative, the same kind, but still. In our upcoming election, the only female candidate is one for the insane right-wing conservatives. And why is it? You might ask, people are sexist, racist, and other bad isms. A woman who wants approval has the best chance by talking the conservative talk to make her palatable to the masses. I wouldn't do it because I have moral values, but there are enough people who are more willing for personal success. What do they really believe? I don't know. I think that's pretty valid. That might happen, that a conservative woman will have an easier time than a progressive woman. And mostly in America, I can speak for, mostly because the mainstream parties, there's nobody who's willing to accept that any main candidate is ever progressive enough. And so with it being a woman, it even more erodes the goodwill. You would think it would have the opposite effect of like, yeah, but at least she's a woman, and we do understand the representational politics of having a woman at the top of the ticket. They're like, no, she's a woman. Why isn't she the most extreme left of anybody?
Yep.
And instead it becomes, you know, she's a cop, or she's, you know, she's genocide or whatever. It becomes something even more harsh than how they think about someone like Trump, who doesn't hide that he is those things and leans into them, and there are no signs governing or in his speeches that show that he is anything hopeful on those fronts. But they'll just accept that because he is a man. Yeah. And that's part and parcel with being a man.
Yeah, and also with a lot of men, there's no expectations. Like, people just will not admit that on certain things. There's just no expectation as far as you're a man, so you are quote unquote automatically quote unquote qualified. But if you're a woman, you're not qualified. There's something wrong. You fucked your way here. Whatever it is, sexism, we don't like women, whatever people's hang-ups are, they begin to shine whenever it's a woman, and everybody looks you in your face and tell you there's no such thing as misogyny. No, it does not exist. Like racism, y'all, it does not exist. Nobody's doing it. But yet you be like, yeah, y'all, I think some of y'all didn't vote for her just because she was a woman. And it's every excuse but the truth. It's like people lie to themselves about these things because they don't want to admit that they're fucked up and they're also a part of the problem. Like, people don't want to do this internal thing, because I can't speak for other places, but particularly being a black girl here in this country, women, you know, a lot of women are looked and seen as second-class citizens just from the time they're born. You know, keep your legs closed, keep your mouth shut, you talk too much, you're too much, everything about you is wrong, you know, you just develop it. Oh my gosh, you got titties and ass, we got to wrap you up, you know, you get your period, everybody fucking freak. Like, it is a goddamn mess, and it is something that has been trained into us, and something that has kind of been passed down from generation to generation, just being like, this is just the way it is. And then when you have, you know, generations be like, I am tired of the bullshit, they want to shut them bitches down, because they be like, how dare you, you know, speak up and want rights and want to try to be somebody, and try not to have your life tied and wrapped up and tangled up with a man. You know, how dare you have rights and choices. And this is another reason why People be like, well, it was better back in the day. Bitch, no, it wasn't. There was no choices. There were no choices. We have choices now. The problem is the choices. So you know what they're trying to do? Strip away the goddamn choices. You know what? I have family members that were alive today that, you know what? When they were born, women couldn't have bank accounts. Women couldn't drive. Women couldn't vote. So it is not the fucking same. No, you could not leave your husband. No, you could not file for divorce. You couldn't do these things. There were more choices. And guess what? Your grandma and great grandma, the people that you love, had them 4,500 kids. You know what? Some of them bitches would have left your grandpa too if they would have had the choice.
Regarding Nebs says, regarding Trump's offer of delayed resignation, I just got an email from my senator, Patty Murray, basically saying exactly what y'all said, that his offer isn't based on facts and that Trump has a history of scamming and not paying people. Even said the banger, the government is not Twitter. She normally does not send emails about this sort of thing or with this tone, so it seems she really is worried about and thinks he's trying to scam her constituents. Rod was right and Karen be knowing. Yeah. But some people took that money, so we'll see. Rona Raphael says, fair point about conservative female leaders because the bar is set too damn high for the average woman in politics. So yes, by American standards, Frau Merkel is considered progressive, even if she wasn't necessarily. Tanzania's Samia Hassan, who succeeded a Christian nationalist, has to play strict too. UK's Tory leader, Kemi Badenoch, is a Yoruba version that could qualify for Rod's Black History Month British version. Marie Le Pen in France, etc. The abnormalities are former Finland and New Zealand prime ministers, and they paid the price in ways that men doing what they did wouldn't have. So you might be onto something. With America allowing a conservative woman into power, Croatia also has had a president who wasn't liberal. Liberia, Mozambique, and Namibia women presidents are other examples too. He said, I was trying to respond to Appy. I hit the wrong box. Anyways, why are you asking the question in the poll? Who's trying to know classified info? The poll question is, can you physically fight? We'll get to that later. Abia says, Frau Merkel was progressive by American standards. That's true. The party she came up in is named the CDU, which stands for Christian, not necessarily a sign for progressive behavior regularly. Sean says, America, well, you can have a choice between the right-wing party and the Republicans, although Dems have gotten better. Hustle No Flow says, Appia, what part of Germany are you in? Have you ever heard of a town called Reisfeld? Appia says, okay, then it's just got like in the people where they live.
In the weeds.
All right, I don't care about this. You guys have responded. You read that. Sean says, I think that the difference between conservatives and liberals is more than the silent majority. Folks are braggadocios despite their ineptitude, while liberals are quietly competent. Sure, if you see someone walking around with an open carry rifle, they're probably conservative and either untrained or out of practice with it. Meanwhile, if the liberal has a gun, they will not tell you about it, and they are at the gun range thrice weekly training in off-peak hours. A conservative will talk your ear off, and that one time he almost managed to pull his gun out of his holster and scared off the perp, whereas the liberal double tap the home invader and will never tell. They will never tell you about it, and you will never find the body. Okay, my basic point is that conservatives talk a good game, but they can't back up, whereas liberals get shit done, but they don't tell you about it. I don't know. I feel like that's a liberal fantasy. I hope that's right, but I just feel like, honestly, liberal people don't own as many guns as conservatives. There's a big, but you're absolutely right in the way that they signal machismo and braggadocio is very loud. And so if a liberal person has a gun, I feel like you are less likely to have them talk about it. But the one thing I think is true of gun culture, painting obviously in the broadest brush in this, as Sean is doing, I think one thing that's true about gun culture in America is that guns make people mentally feel like they can brag, talk shit. And so I wouldn't even say it's a liberal conservative thing. I say it's a gun culture thing. Even progressive people that I know that own guns bring it up all the time. Mr. Span brings it up all the time. He owns guns. Mark from 3 Guys On, I've seen that gun more times than I care to think. It's just, and it's not that they have some fucked up politics. It's just, I think owning a gun, part of it is a flex, for people. And it's like you're warning people and showing you can handle yourself. And I also think there's kind of a like fantasy element to owning a gun, of stopping some bad guy and all this type of stuff, or just not being the one to fuck with.
More the second part, yes.
But yeah, I really think, I think you're on to something, obviously, with them bragging more about it, but I think we rounded up all the guns and did a count. Conservative people own way more guns than liberal people.
Yes, they do.
In America.
August, we found 25 guns in the house. Hey, bitch, what's more army are you about to fight?
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. A conservative person buys 7 guns, liberal person buys 1 gun, because it's like, I just practically need this to protect myself or whatever.
Right, 2 or 3 at the most.
Yeah. But you're not wrong. It's just, anyway, you're not wrong. Shoe Booty says, White Castle is the Papa John's of my household. I got to get denied 9 times out of 10 when I ask for it, but that one time I get a yes just because my husband loves me, worth it. Well, for the record, I don't really say no to Papa John's. I don't ever want it, but anytime she wants it, and then we just go ahead and order it. Like, it's not like I'm in here being like no 9 times out of 10. It's just, okay, you want that pizza, that's fine. Julian 3000 says, honestly, it's wild that Rod catches any hate for how he looks at Karen or whatever nonsense people complain about. A few months ago, we found out Karen didn't even know which side of her car the gas tank was on. That's elite level husbandry. Give this man a gold jacket. Also, right. And she left me to die during my colonoscopy.
I did not leave you to
I deserve to look at her with a side eye when she's talking.
I did not leave you to die. I was in the building. I was on the wrong floor.
She didn't care. She needed grits. Grits was more important than knowing the outcome of whether I died under the anesthesia or not. Were you going to say something before I finish this?
And I was going to say, I was thinking about this the other day. Jal, I love my husband. I am living the softest of the I have a super soft life, and Chad Roderick has set the standards really, really high about the lifestyle that I live. So, it's one of the things where I'm like, I don't want to be with anybody else because the standards is high and nobody else can live to these standards that you have set. Because my husband does a lot of things, for me, and I love him very dearly. And now these are things that I can do myself. But he tries to make my life as comfortable as possible, because he does like a lot of the driving and things like that. And yeah, child, I forgot, because like I said, I barely drive the vehicle. Something happened to the car. I'm like, baby, something wrong with the car. So it's one of them things where I am a strong, black, independent woman, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, I want my man to take care of me. Bitch, you could do both.
Also, a random question. Is it better for the podcast to listen to the ads? I'll be skipping, but if that helps, Brother Rod and Sister Karen, I don't mind listening. I'm going to be honest. Another person hit me up about this in the email this week. Obviously, if you listen, it's better than not listening. Like, I'm not, like, I think all y'all know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not stressed either way. Like, ads is not our main way of making revenue in the first place. And I think we have enough ads in there that it's gonna catch you slipping sometime,
Or you gonna
and just chalk it up to the game. Like, you're taking a leak and you don't, you're in the shower, you don't have time to hop to the phone and fast forward.
Or you're in the car doing something, but you can't actually just reach down and tap it. It's okay.
Yeah, so we'll figure it out. We don't see our ad numbers every month or every day, although I guess I could look more into those, but it helps if y'all. It obviously helps if y'all listen, but I don't want y'all.
It does.
Right, but I don't want y'all like feeling a level of pressure or inconvenience
or obligation,
or it ruining the listening experience. It's more important that you enjoy the experience of listening than whether or not you listen to the whole ad or not. So I would not worry about it. I don't worry about it when I listen to other podcasts either. I fast forward as needed. Evie said that person who wrote in was definitely being slick about Karen agreeing with everything you say. It's so misogynistic and so annoying that it was couched in a way that was supposed to be concerned. Anyone who listens to this show knows that Karen has a mind of her own, expresses herself just fine. I sometimes wonder if people who write comments like that are even fans of the show.
Right.
I think no one is immune from criticism, but this particular one is not valid. Yeah, I agree. I think, I didn't realize it at the time, but first of all, it's YouTube, which means not all those people not necessarily listeners of the show. Some of those people just see something, click on something, and start talking shit. And then I think when I clicked on that person's profile, it went to their YouTube page, and they seemed to be on some weirdo shit. So it was like, okay, fuck this person. But yeah, I think the biggest thing you said is not all that criticism is valid. There's this thing that happened through the internet where people went, well, everyone can be critiqued. Sure, everyone can be critiqued. But then they made it seem like, and all the critiques are valid and you should take them in. And thank God, from just like early on in this podcast, that was not something we believed in. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. I just think there's quality to critique and not all of it's valid. And not everybody's opinion is important.
No, it's not.
And sometimes what people don't realize, those that aren't creatives or those who aren't good at being creative,
right?
What they don't realize is you're just making a series of choices, and that every time you make a choice, some people fall off, some people lean in. That's it. We made some choices that we get to, for the most part, we thought about every choice we've made on this show, and we have people that lean in that we appreciate, and we have people that fall off that we appreciate, and and some that we don't, and that's fine. Like, it'll be all right.
Right. And also the thing about critiquing, a lot of people have their critiquing in meanness. And like nobody ever wants to say that. You can't tell me all of it is valid when you say stupid shit like change your voice, or I don't like the way you look, or why don't you put on makeup, or why don't you dress up, Karen? Like shit like that that's been talking towards me. I don't like the side of your voice. Bitch, I can't change that. So no, all shit is not valid.
Yeah, and some stuff says more about the person talking, their jealousy, their prejudices, their biases. It's not, we do what we do, and we're comfortable doing it in the way that we're doing it, and we don't put out a show that's trying to hurt anybody. And so I feel good. My head hits the pillow every night, and I sleep fine.
Yeah, and also as a woman, as I begin to get older and more comfortable in my skin, bitch, I'm not everybody's flavor, and I understand that. Me being who I am, you might take a sip and be like, this is nasty with it. And bitch, it's a lot of teas. Go try something else. If I ain't your flavor, it's tons of them out there, and you will find the ones you like. And I am fine with that, and I am content with that. I had to learn a long time ago, everybody ain't gonna like you, and you ain't gonna know why. You just existing bothers them, and that's all right. You can go on somewhere else.
Yeah, I used to be a person that in my heart wanted to please everybody in some ways. I wanted people to like me, or at least not dislike me, and I don't know, I just stopped caring.
I'm not gonna
I don't know what to tell people, and like, for me, it's not been an act. It hasn't been revolution. It hasn't been something. I don't talk about it all the time, but it's just a thing that happened, and it freed me in so many ways from anxiety and worry. And if I could bottle it up and sell it and give it to other people, shit, if I could bottle it up and give it away, I give it to all my friends, because I just feel like there's a level of not caring that we need to have in order to be in peace with ourselves.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not talking about the narcissistic time. I'm not talking about the kind that you justify being an abusive, bad person, but just like a general level of like, okay, you don't like me. It's how I spent this last week, not really investigating or going back and forth with people that didn't like the Kendrick Lamar album, Halftime. I don't care. I can love you. You can be my friend. I don't have to. There's nothing I can do for you to change how you feel. Okay. And I'm not seeking to. Right.
I'm not wanting to. And I don't have nothing in me that has that desire to. And the thing is, sometimes you just have to be at peace whatever your decision is in life, and be at peace at your likes and what you don't like.
And with our show, it's double that. Like if I don't care about what people think about what some other person that created something did, I double can't care about if I thought about things and made thoughtful, intelligent work and people don't like it. I can live with it, because I knew that was going to happen when I made it. Right. So the only deal is I get to create, people consume or don't consume, people feel how they feel about it, and we give everybody a platform, a chance to chime in every Saturday. And if they can be respectful, we can be respectful back.
That's all we ask.
Let's see. Sergeant Ballard says, on the veteran question, it's a lot more than guns and machismo. The two biggest factor in military is military funding and VA funding. There's a perception perception that active duty gets better raises when a Republican is the commander-in-chief, and also the VA works better. Republicans tend to spout more pro-military spending, and the Democratic Party is the last party to shut down a significant amount of military bases while slashing personnel in the military. Now, I have no idea if the perception is true. I've never really looked through the presidents to see. I just think we should cut the DOD budget in half as a starting point. Ballard, USAF veteran. Here's the thing, though, Ballard. The fact that you just said there's a perception, that goes back to what I said, guns and machismo. Gun culture and is conservative culture. That machismo is conservative culture. And so what you'll find if you actually do investigate that is that Republicans often talk a good game but cut funding to like veterans and stuff like that, especially veteran programs. They're doing it right now. What you'll also find is that neither party is keen on stopping military funding, no matter what they say. Democrats are afraid to cut military funding because they don't want to sound not tough and they don't want to turn the military against them.
Right.
Republicans talk like we need to have the biggest, best military, even when they are cutting funding and changing things. So, to me, the fact that it's like, well, there's a perception. Where does the perception come from? The perception comes from, I think, gun culture. You have to have guns if you go in the military. Basic training, everything. Putting a gun in a person's hand activates certain parts of their brain, certain parts of their psyche that is just kind of macho coded, you know? And I say it with no judgment. I just think it's a fact. If I put a gun in my hand, it's going to change the way I think about things. That's it. You all of a sudden you have the ability to take a life. You have the ability to say, don't fuck with me. My anger now can be weaponized literally. It's not just rhetorical flourishes and the pen and all this stuff. It's I can put a fucking piece of lead through you going at very high velocity. And it just changes people. You know, I've been at basketball courts. The presence of a gun changes the way people interact with each other. Mm-hmm. Our military is the biggest military in the world, except for China, I think, and armed to the fucking teeth. Like, of course they're going to lean conservative. I just think it's coded that way. So like I said, conservatives often don't back up what they say when it comes to supporting the military, but it doesn't seem to matter because they know how to talk that conservative machismo, and that matters the most, it seems. All right, let's go to the YouTube comments, see how many we got here. 5. Okay, cool, not bad. All right, let's see. Jinxful says, laugh my ass off, Bojangles fries do fold, they still top tier. Facts, Bevel was all on the black pods back in the day, been using it ever since. Mm-hmm. Then someone wrote this long thing about Jason Baldoni and Blake Lively, saying they wanted to hear my thoughts on would appreciate your thoughts on comparison of the filings in Lively versus Baldoni, not the media owner, your thoughts on the actual case for each person. You're one of the few people with actual thoughtful opinions on the intersection between entertainment, sports, pop culture, Marvel, So your perspective, this is actually useful as opposed to the myriad of people talking about out their ass about this stuff. Your previous opinion on it doesn't seem to be taking new info that is only based on the lawsuits into account. I know you feel strongly this is a case of women not being believed and a man defending his wife, but this looking more like rich white woman accusing people that she thinks are men of color of assaulting her, when Jason Baldoni is not a man of color and nobody thinks he is. Get the fuck out of here. Then weaponizing that threat against them to hijack the project they have spent 5 years investing time, money, and creativity in it. RR, which I guess is Ryan Reynolds for y'all that end up talking about this shit ad nauseum, which is a huge tale and a dead giveaway. For y'all that spend a lot of time on these circles arguing online, y'all start using shorthand like RR and BL. And for those of us that don't really care or are not this siloed in this information tunnel where they go back and forth on the internet with each other, we don't use that. We don't use their abbreviations because we don't be talking about them. But anyway, it's a sign is what I'm saying. Ryan Reynolds unfortunately comes into it in a way that initially appears to be defense, but when you take into account his cleverness and hyperactivity, it's starting to look more like cooperation and said hijacking. Anyway, So I just replied to them like, if you listen to the show, then you heard me say I'm not going back and forth with y'all about this. Feel how you feel. Don't write in about it, expecting me to act like I'm her lawyer. We will see what happens in court.
Yep, we will see what happens in court.
And then they wrote another long thing. I'm not interested in going back and forth on it either. I'm only interested in your opinion on it as a creative. And I gave my opinion on it.
Yeah.
So you're not interested in it. You're trying to either change my opinion, challenge my opinion. You're right, but it's also my right to be like, I told you I wasn't gonna do this with you. So I'm telling you from just the context clues that I see, I don't believe this guy. He's gonna have to prove it in court.
Yes,
I also doubt anything in court is gonna truly be conclusive for anyone involved.
Right.
I don't think it works that way in general. It'll be mudslinging. And I just would like to point out some other context clues because I saved this article the other day and I think it's pretty important here. Megyn Kelly, y'all know her. Miss Santa Claus is White.
Did she get a TV show that was terrible?
Yeah.
Right.
She's a conservative. She said a lot of racist shit. Megyn Kelly says Blake Lively has absolutely ruined her brand over Justin Baldoni turmoil. She's a serial fraudster. That's who the fuck y'all be agreeing with. And then right up here and be like, can you explain? Actually, I don't need to explain. I think I've explained myself just fine. I don't believe this guy. It's more likely to me he's shady than she is.
Right.
And I also think every time I get an update from my Apple News Daily Mail thing that says like, it's always pro Justin Baldoni and it's multiple times a week. He has a media apparatus that is using conservative media to spread a anti-Blake Lively agenda, and you Negroes are eating this shit up. I don't even know if you black, but y'all are eating this shit up from our enemies, from people that truly have nothing positive to say about you as a black person, women in general, any of this shit. I saw another thing that was like, it was like explaining the right-wing media Blake Lively Justin Baldoni thing, and it was like he's going to the media that has no real scruples about attacking a woman. They've done it to Amber Heard. They've done it to Megan Thee Stallion. They're gonna do it to her. Yes. I'm sorry that I'm not in the courtroom looking at every piece of evidence, but I'm a grown-ass man that's trying to do actual real shit with their life. I just gave my opinion on it, and it won't be changed from anything from a filing or Daily Mail. They just gonna have to go to court and figure that shit out. But from 1,000 feet away, I'm saying it don't seem like he is on the up and up.
Right.
The fact that he even hired this PR firm should be enough for you and everybody else to go, well, whatever's happening, he definitely did some shady shit to start this.
He's trying to clean up.
Because that is not how you clear your name, by attacking her credibility before anything has even come out. You clear your name. If you're going to come up front, you had a podcast. Go on your podcast and just say what you got to say. Don't be out here like trying to get other people to do your work for you and leak stuff to TikTok and weird shit like that, knowing how it is to attack women. And you claim to be a fucking feminist, you piece of shit. Nah, fuck you and fuck that. So no, I won't be coming through the evidence. And I didn't think that shit was cool when people did that with Megan and Tory. I don't need to go through the evidence. Like, it's obvious he shot Megan Thee Stallion.
Right.
Some people are just fucking gullible dummies, and since none of us thinks we're sexist, none of you will attribute it to like, maybe I just have some issues with women. Maybe it's just easier for me to believe a woman is a piece of shit than any time a man is a piece of shit. And if that's the case, own it and leave me out of it. The poll: can you physically fight? Yes, not, well, I don't know, or no.
No, I can't. Have I been in fights before? Yes, they were terrible, but no, I can't fight.
38% say yes. 22% say not well. 32% say they don't know. I like that. Because, I mean, if you never really been fighting, how would you know? Also, it could have been a while. You might have to find out on the fly.
Child, yeah, and once you reach a certain age, you be like, bitch, these tight hips and bad knees and hot back, what the fuck I'm fighting you for?
And 8% say no, they just flat out can't fight. So there you go. All right, we're about to go to the next episode, but I need to play some music for a second. We got a couple new beats in too, from Psycho Music and from DJ Jaffa. I'll play Just Because by DJ Jaffa. knocking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 3047 Doomsday is late. Oh, and shout out to Cass always in the chat who said Democrats increased the number of people handling VA benefits. When I came into the VA, the backlog was years for appeals. Now there are appeals that can get handled within months. Of course, Trump is trying to cut those people. Right.
Of course.
And military will still vote more conservative because gun culture is more important than any of that shit about, well, the conservatives say this. It don't matter what they say. If you care, you would know what they do. And if you knew what they did, you wouldn't vote for them. So clearly it's because they be the ones posing with guns in their pictures and they talk tough and you go, guns kill people, let's go. And then the other thing someone said that Landor said, man, some people overly into this drama need to touch grass. Yes. Mm-hmm. I said that on Twitter. I was like, don't be upset, or not even upset, because I don't know the emotion. I don't want to apply the emotional state to this person that wrote that, but you can't really expect me, a grown-ass man, to spend a bunch of time going through court filings so I can have a Twitter opinion about these three white people at this point, mm-hmm. and their highfalutin drama. Mm-mm. I gave my opinion. That's as far as I feel like going.
Right.
This ain't the legal research podcast. And when I watched that documentary about Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, it was very interesting how many internet personalities came up by it showed in that documentary, you are more rewarded for being anti-woman than being pro. If you were pro Amber Heard, your clicks and your views were not the same as the people who were like Johnny Depp innocent. And so
yeah,
I know enough from this far away to not need to get down into the paint. I'm not trying to figure out who did what. And also, like, I see him spinning things in the articles that keep popping up for me. They're always a spin towards him. The only times it's spun towards her is the legal filing, which is something that's public. I'm legally suing this person. She's not doing interviews about it. She just, I'm suing. And then every once in a while, her attorney will come out and say, basically, this motherfucker dropped some new shit. We don't care. We're going to see him in court. Mm-hmm. We're not trying to litigate this with the Daily Mail. We're just going to go to court, and my client is going to prevail in court.
Right.
All right. So I don't know what else you want from me. See you in court, bitch. It's not my problem.
Court.
Public opinion, I'm not public opinion guy that's going to fix or not fix his life. He need to go to court and figure that shit out.
Agreed.
Doomsday is Late was the episode. 3047 had 7 comments. Appia says, nothing about the Grammy Awards. There was a lot of content that I know is of interest to you. I'm sure you heard. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I feel a little bit offended, Appia, because you say you're a fan of the show. I know you've been listening for years. You reply to almost every episode. You know I don't watch the Grammys.
We don't watch most of the
You ain't never heard us do a Grammy recap on here. We don't do that. Like, I'm good. And it's not to demean or diminish the accomplishments of the people that win the Grammys. I'm happy for them. Mm-hmm. But I have nothing but a surface level appreciation for that idea of an award show. And I understand a black man's running it now. I'm not boycotting it. I'm not saying it's anti-black and I hate them.
Agreed.
I've just never really been interested in award shows of that ilk. And the same with the Oscars and stuff. So you're the one that's changed up. We ain't changed up. I don't give a fuck about them white people awards. Okay. The album was good to me, whether Mr. Morale won the Grammy or not. You know what I'm saying? Macklemore beating Kendrick was not something that needed to, like, we need to go into an episode about. I'm good on it. So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I about to say what they say. I don't care about nothing about them awards unless I win one.
But honestly, even if the people I like win one, I don't care.
No, unless I win one.
Oh,
like
okay.
Me.
Well, yeah, we not up for the Grammys. So,
we not. So
yeah, we would never be that. But yeah, it's anyway good. I'm happy for Kendrick. I'm happy for Beyonce's, Doechii, all that. I heard through the grapevine, but you know, we were doing 2 episodes that week, and honestly, that shit not that important to me. That's shit that's important to other people. So, if we're doing 2 episodes in a week, I'm going to talk about the things that are important to me, and that wasn't one of them.
Mm-hmm. And I'm excited for people that are excited about that stuff. And I'm like you. I'm glad that, people won and things like that. But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit with Keith Malley on last week on Keith and the Girl, because he cares about it.
Right.
So if you want to hear our opinions on like the topics he cared about with the Grammys, then yeah, there you go. People still have it too good when they demand perfection from other people. Oh, you mean like demanding that we talk about the Grammy Awards? So maybe it's a good sign. People are still mostly still fine as it seems. When you're really suffering, you don't care about perfection. No, it's a bad sign because that's when the evil creeps in. That's how it works. When you stop being vigilant on doing good because it's not perfect, then that's when the bad is done.
Yeah, because it looks at your non-activity as a perfect chance to slide on in.
Yeah, your silence becomes the roadway for the paving the roadway for the bad.
Right, and that's why, particularly here in this country, you know, even quote unquote allies and people on our side and shit, even though the black people will tell niggas to shut the fuck up, but it's like, no, dog, we as a collective knows how bad it could get because of our history. So no, I will not shut the fuck up. No, you will not forget. You will not erase. You will not push me to the side. You will, you know, I will continue to speak about these things until I take my dying breath and then just pass the torch on to somebody else. And that's just how it is. And it's very hard for people to understand that there are certain things, regardless if you wanted it or not, and regardless if you asked for it or not, there are some things that you're just going to have to deal with just because you are black in this country.
Even at work, where it's not about life or death, when I want to get something done, I work with colleagues who are not my favorite to get stuff done. I'll find a way because there is no other way. We concentrate on the common goal. So I guess it has to get much worse for this to happen. Yep. Who operates the doomsday clock? Half of the country seems very happy with the direction things are going towards. So for them, the clock has moved back, and it was for human rights, women, and the environment. That's a funny joke and a good point and a great observation. Mm-hmm. Pamela M8 says, salutations, Ryder Karen. We too rented a new red Jeep Grand Cherokee last year for a trip to Shenandoah National Park, and it was sweet. My son and I have newish 2017, 2019 paid off vehicles that were low mileage when purchased. So we're going to hold on to them as long as we can. Our cars are the height of fancy for us because the touchscreen radio and backup cameras. But that Jeep,
shit now.
But that Jeep though, wow, that big screen console came in handy when using Google Maps, and we could also plug into old episodes of the Blackout Tips on the long drive for from our phones. I really like the safety sensors on the side mirrors that would light up if it wasn't safe to pass someone. Looking forward to getting a hybrid car in the far future, Pamela. I agree. Mm-hmm. I liked all those features.
Yeah, those features were really, really nice. Yeah, we've always had older cars, so whenever we buy a car, they're already older. Yeah, that quote unquote old with technology, but the shit be new to us. But that car was really fancy and really nice.
Rona Raphael said, I had a well-prepared Stephen A. Smith rant speaking to Karen about admitting the crime before the court of the Blackout Tips when my name was dropped during the guest race. And I had to drop everything and survey the landscape. Look at God. Drake Falls and Rona Raphael is now part of good folks' lingua for describing niggas. I declare fresh calabash palm wine for all the Blackout Tips nation on me. Only fresh, not imported. I won't pay for that. You're welcome, family. Sean says, on Bang Bang Shrimp is the American name for ebi chili, which is chili shrimp. Look into some Thai chili sauce and sriracha in your local Asian grocers, and you can make the sauce yourself. Well, I'm just telling you, I've had Bang Bang Shrimp different places on different menus from different types. I don't think it is the same. I don't think it ain't just Thai chili and sriracha, because I've tried it places where it wasn't that. Like I know my ingredients, and it's like there's no Thai chili and no sriracha, but you know what it is? Banging.
Yeah, that's why they call it Bang Bang Shrimp.
Yeah, like I don't think that the Bang Bang recipe the same everywhere, but that shit bang, she bang.
Right, and it don't matter where it is, it's always good.
Also, there's a company that makes bulletproof suits in Toronto called Garrison Bespoke, although I prefer bulletproof hoodies like the Urban from Bulletproof Everyone. Well, good luck, Bulletproof clothes.
You and John Wick shop there.
EVE says, I love Bang Bang Shrimp and all their variations. So far, I've seen them as Boom Boom, Bean Bean, Bada Boom, and Bum Bum Shrimp. All very delicious. I got the dupe recipe off TikTok. I call them damn shrimp because they're so damn good. Shoe Booty says, y'all so sweet about making sure the other gets off the couch at night. I'm an asshole and just sees it as a bed to myself opportunity. I'm a grown woman. Only person I gotta make sure gets into bed at night is my child. Also, normalized couples going to bed at different times. I felt alone in that for so long, but my husband is a night owl and I like going to bed early.
Yeah, that's normally how it is in here. I normally go to sleep much earlier than Rod, so I just go.
Not really. You'll go in there and play video games till 3, 4 in the morning if I don't come to
Sometimes,
bed.
yes.
So that's not really true. Sometimes it's like that. You just go into bed, but you're not going to sleep.
Oh, that's true. I get into bed. It don't mean I'm going to sleep, because I be playing the video game and watching anime. I will stay up.
Ms. Barnes says, I must brag about myself for a hot second. Back in 2020, a restaurant around the corner from me closed their doors, and with it, the Bang Bang shrimp that I love quite dearly. I decided to pull the recipe from Beyonce's internet, make it myself. I have not looked back. Oh my God, it was so good. I just paired it with a salad, grabbed my chopsticks, and dived in.
That sounds delicious.
Dive on it. Let's see. We have YouTube comments from this one as well. 8 comments is what we got here. Let's see. Bang Bang Shrimp says Uchida Ogonomi. Bang Bang Shrimp, I'm from the Northeast. I never heard of that. Well, maybe we call it something different. Update, I looked it up. We call it firecracker shrimp. Of course, we name it after some Sicilian mafia HK triad contraband. In any case, Rod is right. Joints be fire.
Yeah, I forgot they have various different names for it.
Donatillo says, with all the complaining, blaming, and boycotting going on, my biggest question is, where were all these people November 4th, 2024? Not saying we can't do these things, but the most impactful thing we could have done was vote in more Democrats. People are upset and blaming everyone except the ones that caused all this, the Republicans.
Agreed.
Rebecca Cam says, or it might be Rebecca M. What do you think about a chatter that Elon had control over the voting machines in PA and other states? Apparently Trump mentioned that, and a thank you to Elon. I don't know, Rebecca. I've said it before on the show a bunch of times, but the hard part about that conspiracy theory that y'all need to convince me to be on board with is that Kamala Harris, all the lawyers at the DNC, Joe Biden, and all these other people who spent months talking about how big of a detriment Trump was to democracy, would have also had evidence, saw the same things we saw, and went, you know what? Stand down. Let them have the presidency back. I can't believe that they would do that.
I don't either.
And
I think they would have fought.
I just think if they had any angle, any proof, any inkling, if there was anything beyond just internet conspiracy theories of people that are just upset that she lost, I feel like they would have done it. They would have fought. And then the other part of that conspiracy that I really have a hard time accepting, because I've read too much about the history of this country, I don't find it a stretch at all to think that Trump won.
Right.
That people did vote for this.
Yes, they did, and there was nothing wrong, nothing tampered with. People just went to the polls and voted this way.
Because it was not a lopsided defeat. It seems lopsided if you just look at the swing states and go, he won them all. But when you look at the percentages where he won like by 1 or 2% of the entire vote, I don't find that to not jive with what I've seen of America in the past and what I've seen in the present and how I've seen people operate. And I think a big part of that is just a lot of people choosing to abstain from voting. Even despite everything they saw, everything that we talked about, there were a lot of people who went, I'm still good either way.
Yep.
And they chose not to vote for various different reasons. They did not feel motivated to vote. And so it's less of a shift of everyone is agreeing with Trump and more of a shift of there were people who were afraid after 4 years of Trump who were motivated to get him out of the paint, who this time went, I felt that way when it was a white dude, but when as it was a black, I got to pick between Trump and a black woman, I'd rather not. I'll just let you guys decide.
Right, I'd rather not.
So I don't find it to be, I don't think it would take a conspiracy to beat the Democrats in this country, not because of any negative misgivings I have towards the Democrats, but because of the negative misgivings I have towards the American people.
Agreed.
Ichida responded again, and as I listened to the rest of the show on my way back to Queens on the R train, I had to get out the train because I was about to cause a scene laughing from that damn song. I've only been keeping up with this podcast for a few weeks, but how have I not heard that before? Peace to whoever produced that mix and for including that clip from one of Spike Lee's greatest. Second time I've heard John Totoro's fried chicken biscuit eating monologue on a hip hop record, but back when Cube used it, he missed the boat by not putting a beat under it. Can you post a list of actors, interviews, and idiots sampled, putting all that racism scripted and unscripted on wax? I cannot, because I didn't make that beat, and that sounds like a lot of work. Lasco says, here's something that just hit me. This is regards to Representative Hakeem Jeffries, what he put on that should combat Trump's EOs, executive orders, and all the other nefarious moves. A lot of us on the left love to bash the Dems for not doing enough, but they are obviously unaware of the moves the Dems are making. The question we need to ask is this. One, why are you unaware of the positive steps being taken to make your lives better? It's a good question. I ask it a lot.
Yeah.
And one of the main things I will add to that question is some context, which is, when people say they don't know this stuff, where are they normally saying they don't know it? There's two things happening, right? One, the people who say the Dems aren't doing a good job of messaging almost always know the Dem message. That weird sleight of hand, I don't know how that's possible mentally for people to do those gymnastics, but it is very interesting to me that we are years and years and years into this democracy, years and years and years into social media, and there are still people that say stuff like Dems are doing a bad job of delivering their message. And if I say, well, what is the message? This, and this. Sound like they're doing a good job because you know it. Well, everyone doesn't know it. Right. Those people could know it if they wanted to know it.
If they wanted to.
So now you got to start looking at your fellow man. Why don't you want to know?
Looking at your fellow
Why do you
man.
speak in platitudes? Why are you happily uninformed?
Yes.
Because and so this is the second part. The underpinning of all of this relies on the innate goodness of your fellow citizen, and what you have given them or conceded to them without thinking about it is that they are morally neutral or good and just lack the proper information to make the right decisions to progress our society. And I would say I fundamentally do not see any proof of that.
Right. That's not always so. There's a lot.
Not always. I do not see proof of that.
Right.
I see people that have access to more information than ever, who choose to believe what makes them feel better, whether that be black people coming to take your stuff, brown people coming to take your stuff, women are ruining your lives. They choose to believe from the cacophony of information that is available, this vast space of just unregulated information. They pick and choose what they will believe, and most of the time they believe whatever makes them feel good. And a lot of times what makes them feel good are bad things, not things that are good for them, things that are bad happening to other people. They like that. And so now you have to stop that whole thing of like, why aren't they learning, and go, what do they want to learn? Because if you want to learn that Michelle Obama was a overbearing bitch that tried to make our kids eat healthier and denied them their American rights to junk food with her black ass, you can go find that. And if that same person wants to read John F. Kennedy Jr. is trying to save our kids from eating unhealthy by getting rid of trans fats and he's a hero, we need to put him in charge of health care in America, they can find that too. And that's not a Democrat problem. Everything people say Democrats should do, I always see them doing. I've never seen a time where they had an idea that where someone had an idea and I went, damn, Democrats didn't do that. Every single time. They should be giving speeches. There's some people on my timeline who like, they're younger and they're a bit more naive and they're like, or less jaded, let's say less jaded. And they do the Democrats need to say this. And every single time, I won't reply to them because I don't want to start no shit. But they'll make me curious and I'm like, oh, I should look up and see if they did that. One of them recently was like, Democrats aren't doing enough. They need to at least be giving speeches and da-da-da. Democrats apparently are giving a fucking press conference every day, talking about how they're fighting Trump every day.
Yeah, they should be protesting outside of buildings. They have a conference where they
do it.
Yeah,
every day.
Where they outside of a fucking building holding signs going, these niggas ain't shit. These niggas ain't shit. America, pay attention. They ain't shit.
And the third thing is this: where physically, metaphysically, wherever, where are you when these things are being said? Are you on Elon Musk's Twitter? Are you on the people that own TikTok's Twitter or TikTok? Are you on TikTok? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Are those other, if I'm not mistaken, are those not the people sitting at the limited indoors invite only inauguration? You expect that to be an even playing field? Of course you don't feel like the people that they are against. Of course you don't feel like their message is spreading as far. Of course you don't feel like that.
Suppressed.
The messages that they allowed to spread far, and I'm sorry to sound conspiratorial, and I know y'all don't believe this, and I know some people are going to bristle at this, and they don't want to hear it, but I don't give a fuck. The lessons they allow to spread that are liberal are only liberal in ways they hurt Democrats.
Yes.
So, of course, Palestine is the message that is allowed to go far everywhere. Because at the end of the day, what that message is what that message, my belief is, what that message is ultimately going to convince you to do is to tap out, to not vote, to say, you know what, tweets are better than votes. It helps Republicans. Mm-hmm. So when you see a liberal message that is allowed to blossom through the algorithm and be all on your For You page, you should question why the fuck that one made it through but not this other shit.
Right.
You know, so it's not an even playing field. We keep treating it like it is. So that's why I think this is happening. Google owns YouTube, or YouTube owns Google. Go look up what Google did this week. Got rid of all the months. Black History, women, Mexican.
Wow.
Got rid of all of them off of Google Calendar. This ain't a neutral spot. YouTube ain't neutral. It's a reason you come on YouTube and you're like, how come I'm not seeing in my algorithm what the Democrats did today? Because they not trying to show you that shit.
Right.
They not on that side. They want you to feel, which is what the internet is very good at doing.
Yes, it is.
They want to make us feel a certain way. And right now you feel like there's a mandate for Trump and nothing is being done and nothing can be done to stop him. Mm-hmm. Now, while the second one might be true, because we as voters have given Republicans the majority everywhere.
Yes, sir.
The first one definitely ain't true. And I'm tired of these motherfuckers carving out exceptions for a bunch of Democrats who do the work that you say they don't do.
Right. Yes.
Jasmine Crockett is a Democrat. Mm-hmm. AOC is a Democrat.
And
Rashida Tlaib is a Democrat.
And they are loud.
These people still count. They might not be the majority. They might not be the leader. But they count as Democrats. Their voices are still Democrats. So when you say Democrats aren't, get it right, because they are. 2, are you intentionally avoiding such content because you need a reason to bash Dems, or you're a product of your algorithm bubble and silo? I think that happens a lot to those people online.
Yes.
3, what exactly is the end game for your anti-Dem propaganda? Mm-hmm. And she said, yes, you're absolutely right. The anti-Dem third party far left folks are more popular, get promoted by social media algorithm, just like the right wing folks. Yes, and we've so totally cravenly given into the algorithm on our social media that it's really not a conversation at this point. So when you see people who spread stuff like bashing Blake Lively, that is not an apolitical choice. Mm-mm. That is not an unmotivated choice. The people who are promoting that on social media are being rewarded in likes and clicks and plays
and retweets and reposts.
Right. And the people that go, I don't know, guys, they're not getting rewarded. So you're incentivized to be that way. And that's just a social, like, two white people problem. Now put it in the context of actual politics, policies that are going to affect each other. They pick the winners and losers on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook by being like, okay, so you said in detail, here's what Republicans did today, and here's what Democrats did today. No. But if you said, Democrats, y'all need to step your game up, y'all ain't doing shit, 1 million retweets. Go ahead and go into the algorithm, homie. But yeah, oh yeah, she says they get promoted by social media algorithm just as like the right wing folks. Both traffic misinfo and view being educated and informed with being elitist. Both are also single issue voters. They both hate government / establishment, pretend that their political leaders can only be like them. The difference is right wingers will still support someone who is far from their political ideal leader, like a fake billionaire TV show host or an immigrant billionaire. Mm-hmm. One more thing. We leftists progressive need to be honest with ourselves. We need to answer some questions with as much truth as in our hearts. How do we plan to achieve true progressiveness? By gaining capital, political power, community, whatever that means. How bad do we want to see societal progress? And is there a line where we're not going to cross to get there? What is that? What's the line? How far are we willing to compromise our values and morals to access power in the U.S.? Have we finally reached a point where we need to unplug the system and fight the power? Are both sides really equally bad? And should we abandon our political system altogether and seize power by force, evolution, and all? The above question is basically a legitimacy check for whatever progressive movement there is. We need to know what we want as a society and how to get there. Those are questions, and you know what would help answer those questions? If there was a single type of entity or some sort of leadership in that movement, but there's not. There's a bunch of mercenaries who are in it for social media props and not for solving people's problems. They're not interested in running for office.
Nope.
They're not interested in galvanizing a physical force. They're not interested in real community on the ground. They're interested in listen to my podcast and pay for my Patreon. That's as far as they care. That's as far as they're going to go. And I think as long as people can feel satiated through internet content, they will be and be told that they're noble for not being involved. They will always gravitate towards that. Because what's more appealing than being told by doing nothing, you are the most brave, correct person in the world, and only by trying to change it and getting off your ass, well, that actually makes you compromise and part of the problem.
Agreed. And that shit does not make any fucking sense, because I use my logical brain and I'm like, hey, doing nothing is a choice, and doing something actually requires effort, because at the end of the day, you won't take all the credit and none of the blame. And I think that's what happened with this election and with the election of Hillary Clinton. Everybody just assumed, same thing. It was like wash, rinse, repeat. Everybody assumed the more highly qualified, better educated, better overall quality candidate with Kamala, she's the first person to be on all three branches of the goddamn government. And these niggas, people just assumed they were gonna win, so everybody acted a motherfucking fool. They lost, and then everybody wanted to cry and it's not my fault and all this shit. It was like, hey dog, we been through this. Like, you doing nothing was a choice. And then the thing is, like you say, it's gonna have to be bad enough where people like me, who always got smoke for you, is gonna be like, it's so bad I don't give a fuck. But as of right now, that feeling ain't going away. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm looking at you like, you the problem, nigga. You. No. You are the motherfucking problem. And in my mind, I don't want to hear anything else. You chose to opt out. You chose to sit down. You chose apathy. That's what you chose to do. You chose not to vote. That's what your choice.
Yeah. Also, I think it's interesting what people put on the Democrats when it comes to stuff like there's armed guards at this thing that's being closed, that Trump has closed and put security there, and they're like, why doesn't 90-year-old Maxine Waters push down the security guard? And I find that to be so delusional, because on two fronts. One, and what will that mean? What will that mean? Will the place not be closed anymore? No, that's not how that works, is it? She'll just have pushed a man down, and you'll feel strong because you've given in to symbolism over actual wielding of power. And that's because that's all social media is. It's not real power. So it makes symbolism feel like power. That's why everybody's going gaga over these like resignation letters and stuff. I'm not saying those people aren't brave, but the real bravery would be of the American people not putting them in a position where they had to give up their position because they were one of the few people that had integrity left, and their integrity is what's getting them put out of that position. And eventually they'll put some fucking crony in there, and that thing will be passed that whatever they want. So right. The real bravery didn't happen in November. So now we're using this like symbolic Pyrrhic symbolism as like, yes, look at this. That shit don't move me.
Right.
And it never will. I've been saying it the whole time. I'm not into that. I'm into real power and really winning. This is just losing and thinking that it's noble in the way that you're losing. I don't like that shit.
Me either. I want to motherfucking win. I don't care about your symbolism. I don't give a fuck. I want to win. I don't care how it looks. I don't care about the end results. I want to win. I wanted to do whatever it takes to win. And I had to realize everybody is not like me. Like they ain't built like I'm willing to do whatever it takes. A lot, and I get it. A lot of people, they have integrity, they have scruples, but I'm like, whatever it takes to win. That's why, I will forever be upset about Joe Biden stepping down, because I'm like, I don't give a fuck. The other man is a goddamn idiot. They both own. Nobody gives a fuck. I want to win. And, and so for me, in my mind, I'm like, the other shit does not matter. It does not matter to me. I want results. And so my thing is, for me, when you talk about Maxine Waters, the same Maxine Waters and Jesse Jackson and all these old black people that they tell to fucking give up their seats, the same black people that y'all tell y'all ain't shit, why don't y'all give up, your time is past. You want that same person to go up here and push somebody? Get the fuck out my face.
So then my second point is, y'all could go do it, right? It doesn't have to be an elected official to do what you claim you want to see do. You're tough behind your keyboard. Get your ass up and go and push open the USAID office doors. Symbolically, that'll mean something. It won't get them their funding or their jobs back. That's going to have to be handled in a courtroom, if anything. But if you want to see somebody get fucked up and die for the cause, go be that person.
Right.
Stop. You're sitting at home looking at your phone, acting like you're powerless and these people need to save you. Save yourself if that's how you think saving is going to work. But for the rest of us who told you, if you abdicated and gave in to cynicism last year, you weren't going to have any moves to make. And the Democrats were going to have far less moves to make. And they weren't going to make you feel good. You didn't want to hear us.
No.
We were scoldy. We were being mean. We were everything except pragmatic and rational.
Right.
So now you got to listen to a dude say, that's some good beachfront property. We going into Gaza. We think the U.S. should own it. And you got to sit up there and say, Maxine Waters, can you push somebody down? No, you go do it.
You go
do it now. It's your turn. Remember, you wanted it this way. You said it when it got to this point, we were all gonna come together. Well, go start the revolution, fam.
Right.
It's on you now.
Right, because I think for me, the easiest shit to do is the shit that you didn't want to do. The easy shit was the fucking vote. That was the goddamn easiest thing to do. It was a simple thing to do. You don't want to do the simple shit, so I know you don't want to do the hard shit. So I'm like, hey, dog, you do know the easiest shit is so you won't have to do the hard shit that you actually don't want to do, because I've said it before, most Democrats are fucking rule followers, that most Democrats want to be respected. Most Democrats care about how they look. They care about the symbolism. They care about that shit. And so you dealing with the other side that don't give a fuck about that. So we're going to follow the rules. We're going to say justice is right, blah, 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 blah. I get it, y'all. If you did not want to put them in a position where they had to, quote unquote, compromise their morals, because the second that they do some shit that actually matters, some shit that I'm like, yes, go get them, this is the shit that I want, because I'm like, win no matter what. We got to hear the Nancy's, all the Nancy's and all the naysayers and all the folks flopping and falling out on the timeline, talking about this is not the Democrats, this is not my country, this is not my America, how dare y'all, how dare the Democrats do this? And for me, that shit irritates the fuck out of me. Either you want to win or you don't.
Yeah. It's people that treat, like I said, I have people that called me or talked to me and was trying to express like misgivings about Joe Biden's pardon after they knew Trump was taking office. And I'm sorry, that don't move me. You can't have it both ways. What you claim to want from the Democrats is a shocking lack of just like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to do the right thing, and if I have to do it in the wrong way, that's okay. But then the first time they do something the right thing but the wrong way, y'all can't wait to be like abandon ship.
Right.
So y'all are the ones that got to get it together. I'm already 10 toes down over here knowing what I want, and it ends up turning into Democrats, Republicans, because these are our options. But ultimately, I'm just advocating for right and wrong, black and white. It don't seem that complicated to me. But people make shit complicated. But to me, it's very pragmatic. Better is better than bad, and that's it. But with regards to all the people, particularly Hispanic, it seems so shocked at what old boy is doing. I'm starting to have to think maybe the media they were seeing weren't telling them something. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I think I moved to the wrong comment. Okay, yeah. Jason says, I had never considered Wingstop to be a high crime restaurant because it's so pricey. No restaurant costs as much money to get full as Wingstop. Nigga, I don't know where you live, but the Wingstops where I live are not in the areas where pricey restaurants are, and they ain't no dining establishments. Just because something costs a lot don't mean it's a low crime. They be taxing the fuck out of black people with making shit cost a lot. Well, you live in a fucking food desert, and they like, it's either this or drive 20 minutes to the grocery store. I think you'll pay $20 for 6 wings.
Yes, you will.
If you walk in with $20, you're gonna leave hungry. Compare that to Church's Chicken, where if you walk in with $20, you get robbed for flaunting your wealth. Inflation be damned. You can still feed a family of 5 for $20 at Church's. Those are crime prices. But with regard to all the people, particularly Hispanic, that seem so shocked at what old boy is doing, I'm starting to have to think maybe the media they were seeing must have told them something different. I'm having a really tough time understanding what they saw. They saw the same stuff I saw and didn't expect these deportations. Well, yeah, the big thing people are saying now is like, well, he's only deporting the people that's here illegally. I'm like, there's so many things y'all don't understand, but
yeah,
it's because y'all get y'all's news from right-wing spaces, so those are the talking points they are trotting out. And this is only the beginning. Yeah. And he has promised to do more than just get people out of here who are here illegally. He's also promised to get their family members who are here legally. So I guess we got to wait till that for y'all see that the motherfucking fat meat is greasy.
Right, and it's also one of the things, particularly people that are like not actually from America, that are black and brown and things like that. Here in our country is black, white, and other, and if you're other, they just lump you with the blacks. White people don't have time to decide and decipher your level of blackness. They don't care if you Jamaican, Caribbean. They don't care if you half Korean. They don't give a fuck if you Latino, Mexican. They don't care. They go, you ain't Aryan race white, so you're other. And it's very hard for people that are from other places of the world that have a privilege where they can argue with among themselves about what kind of blackness or what kind of whatever you are. We don't have them divisions here in this country, and it's a shocker to them when they come here and they be like, hey, look, darky, and they go, well, I'm Caribbean. They go, shut the fuck up, nigga, and you're shocked and surprised, but that's how the shit works here. And so a lot of them come over here and get tricked because they walk over us, and particularly black people, you get benefits and you get privileges and you get rights to shit that people that have lived here all their life don't even have access to. Y'all get shit that we have to fight, and we get denied for some of the shit that y'all get just because y'all came over here. And so then you turn around and you look us in the face and you tell us that we're the problem and we're the issue, and we need to put our own bootstraps in because you have bought into whiteness, you have bought into that white supremacy, you have bought into those lies that white people have told you that your proximity to them will save you. It will not, because a lot of them are getting the shock of their lives because they thought they were going to be protected by whiteness, and a lot of these white people are turn around and say, no, you are actually not white. We got you for the votes, we got you for the wins, we got you for the numbers. You have done your job now. Now it's time to send you and yours back to where you came from.
Maybe the Spanish language stations were telling them something different. Maybe with the Arab community, even though not voting for Kamala didn't make logical sense, I can at least understand how helpless they felt. But Trump called his shot like Babe Ruth on these deportations. Yeah, he called a shot on a lot of shit, and it's not done. He's not done yet by a long shot. So as they work their way through this agenda, which they're moving through super fast, as you see what happens in Ukraine, as you see what happens in Gaza, as you see the escalation, and then eventually they'll work their way a little bit more into some of the domestic things that they promise. I think we'll see the suffering, and hopefully that'll wake some people up. And if we get lucky, it won't be too late. Midterms in 4 years from now, if we get lucky.
If we get
lucky is what I said. If we get lucky.
Yeah, if we ever have another election again.
If we get lucky. Bang Bang Shrimp, almost always great. Never had it. I don't like it. 57%. Almost always great. Never had it. 43%. And then only 2% don't like it. Which I think you ain't gonna find too many foods on the planet we could put in a poll and 2% of people are like, I don't like that. Like Bang Bang Shrimp, that the brand is strong.
Brand is real strong.
Episode 3048, Camp Contraband. We had Michael Harriot on. Talked about a bunch of stuff, Super Bowl, blackness. It was a dope conversation. Abia says, my dog's name is Blitzy, like Media Blitz. It means lightning in German because she's so fast. Aww. In hindsight, a questionable name for a dog in a German family. She is a rescue from Italy, maybe also not helping the cause. Oh well. Well, I know the Blitzkrieg was like some war shit with y'all. Shoe Booty says the guest race with the hookup and gun sounds like a newsy story. It does. Rona Raphael says, anytime Michael Harriot is in the house, I learn something new. Camp Contraband, here I come. That 9 or 11 guns, bad romance story, oh my. Y'all better be putting some respect on my name. I'm truly a blessing to humanity. Rod, play humble. I'm not playing anything. And are you threatening us? They're pulling up the 9 to 11 guns and then say respect your name? What are you trying to say?
Getting very violent, ain't we?
Don't be playing like that. Simba says, Michael Harriot referencing making black versions of Ernest Goes To as a measure for industry equality, and Adam Sandler really made me laugh. Then I said out loud in my car, Rod says that all the time. Talk about alignment. Well, also, it didn't come up on this episode, but Michael's told me before, he listens to the show a lot, like all the time. And, you know, I always put that out of my head because it's just hard for me. One, I can't do a podcast where I think people are, where I'm thinking of, I don't want to be thinking too much about the people listening as I'm making it.
Agreed.
I mean, we've read Michael Harriot articles on the show and even before I knew he listened and just gave our honest opinions. I never try to be mean. You know, because I think even when I disagree with someone like Michael, his heart's always in the right place and it's always on black people. So thank God. Right? Because I know there's other podcasts where like you say one wrong thing and they be like, you coon piece of shit ass nigga, fuck you. And then
you're like, calm down.
Yeah. And then also like, thankfully when we did those segments or whatever, if he heard them, or even when he just disagrees about just like anyone who listens to 2 hours of people talk, it's never been like a thing. And that's a big positive for me. Cause I listen to all kinds of people's podcasts. I read all kinds of people's work, and I don't find them and go, hey, I didn't like when you said. I'm like, no, I like your work. If I like 90% of what you said and I understood the last 10%, ain't really nothing to talk about. I get it. You thought about it and I appreciate you. So that's one of the reasons I don't bring it up on the show. Like Michael's gonna hear this. But you know, and also like sometimes people say that and they don't mean it. They're like, oh, I know I love the show, and then it's like, what's Bullet Ball? And you're like, oh, okay, you don't love the show, but it's fun. It's fun. You heard an episode or two, and you know we have a podcast, and that's good too. Nah, he really do listen. So I say all that to say, when he brought up the Adam Sandler Tyler Perry thing, to me it's like, you know, symbiosis or you know Wonder Twins activate, because I'm like, I've made that analogy many times, enough that people who listen to the show recognize that I think I probably was the first person to ever make that analogy, but it's a good analogy, and I want stuff like that to go viral. I want more people to talk about it and use it because it's true. And so yeah, when he said it, I almost went to like reflexively like, yo, I say that, and I was thinking like, wait, no, he know I say that. What? Like, yeah, that's what he's saying. Like, Like, he's saying that's right. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Anyway, and of course I agree. I said it. I agree with me. So it's not really a flex that I think it is. He says, talk about alignment. I can only imagine how cool it must have been to work with him and the team writing on Drapetomaniacs. Oh, man. The thing about Drapetomaniacs, it was very rewarding, especially when the episodes came out and you heard the finished product. Mm-hmm. The amount of people that put in work behind the scenes that y'all will never truly know, right, is astounding. There's just so many people that had to come together for that project to work. Right. I'm so proud of the finished product of everything we put out. Obviously, you guys know Jay from Tea with Queen and Jay, who's my friend and been on the podcast before. She worked on that project, and me and her would talk all the time before and after that project about Drapetomaniacs and just working in general. And she put in, like, a lot of the stuff that you saw come together was a lot of her work. And having a lot of creative personalities, checking in, checking out, moving on, moving out, managing all these schedules all over the globe. It was an ordeal. But what came out of it is something I'm so proud of. I'm just a part of it. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I'm proud to be a part of it. It's like game theory. I'm proud to be a part of it. And so, yeah, it was fun. And yeah, some of my favorite things is like those Zoom meetings where someone's pitching an idea and it sparks something in you, and I'm writing something down. I'm thinking of how to execute it, and I'm thinking of like how to deliver this thing in a way that gets closer to the goal, and being open to feedback and pushback and disagreement and criticism. You have to be open to that. I'm always open to that, because you just never know. You want to get close to something good, but also present some of yourself in it. And that project allowed me to do that and to be creative and stay creative at a time when I was no longer writing for TV and stuff. So I really just enjoyed that project a lot. So it was a lot of work, and a lot of people put in a lot of work, is my point. But yeah, Michael was great to work with. And at least on my side, I can't speak, obviously I've never had to be like, Michael, you need to change this thing, because that's not my job. So like, I'm just like, oh man, this is dope. So Harriet Tubman was in a battle rap, you know what I'm saying? That's my participation in that part of the process. So of course it was fun for me. Now, if it's somebody else that's like, but Harriet Tubman can't do that because she got to do this, that wasn't my job. So I can't speak to those frustrations, but I had a good time.
I had a good time too, because I got to do some voiceover acting, and that was really fun and enjoyable to do that part. And I'm not gonna lie, when Janicia had said that I did a really good job, it meant the world to me, because like, me and Roger had worked really, really hard, a lot of takes, a lot of retakes. He's very patient with me, and kind of coached me into like what exactly my character was supposed to do and needed to do and things like that. So it was a very fun process. Yeah,
and Janicia's an honest critic, so if she tells you did a good job, you can take it to heart.
Yes, and right, and I was like, yay! Yeah. In my heart was jumping, going, I did a good job. I become like a 10-year-old kid, because I was like, yes. That hard work paid off.
But yeah, there was a lot of talented people there,
Yes.
Silas Miami, who I think, or Miami, I think is how you pronounce it, but he was from over time difference, over in a whole different country. Nolika, a whole different country. The fact that project came together the way it came together is just no short of just a testament to Black people's ingenuity and patience and talent to make that happen, because it was difficult to make in many different ways. I think that I really enjoyed the episode I got to write that felt like a wrap-up party for the show.
Yes.
Because it got to allude to some of the stuff in a funny way of yo, this shit is hard. It ain't easy. But in a way that hopefully roasted everybody a little bit, including myself, but didn't cross the line into offensive territory, because you also have to worry about everybody's feelings and all this stuff too. It's not, you know, not everybody play the same, joke the same, talk the same language as others. So
Right.
you got a lot of, and we're talking about very tough Black history stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the Blackout Tips always has great guests, but Michael Harriet is now in my top 5.
Oh, snap. Top 5.
Grown man strength, LOL, tough week for me, but catching up on episodes, I got some much needed laughs with this one. Well, that's dope. And you know Michael will hear that because he listens to the feedback show and everything.
Yeah,
so
top 5 and not number 5. Shout out to you.
you're a top 5 guest for Simma now. And listen, we've had a lot of guests.
Yes, we have.
Okay.
To crack the top 5 means
Tiger
something.
top 5 means something. Eve says the Super Bowl was great. As an Eagle fan, I loved every minute because it really wasn't so much a game but an ass whooping. And the fact that Dump was rooting for the Chiefs makes it so much better. Michael is such a great guest. I hope he comes back soon. He made an excellent point about Black people being our own oligarchy. Our Black dollars matter. We drive the culture. Nothing really doesn't become cool until we give our blessing. And it stops being cool when white people start overusing it. The next 4 years will need to be rough, but will indeed be rough, but like Kendrick said, we're gonna be all right. Yeah, I think that's a great point he made too. And it's not as easy as like, say, being an actual oligarch. Like, it's not as easy as like, if Elon Musk says I'm not putting money on something, he just ain't putting money on something. Black people, it's more of a gradual, like, so we not fucking with R. Kelly no more, right? You know what I mean? It might take us a while to get to, yeah, we done. But like, when we decide we done, and it does make a huge fucking difference for that person. Mm-hmm. And if we could harness that cultural power and influence, or I shouldn't say if, when we harness that power and influence, it moves mountains.
It does.
You just never know when it's gonna be the thing that Black people decide, like, nah, fuck that. But when we do, it work. You tell the most interesting stories, Rod. I'm invested in the story about Joe. After he knocked that kid out, did the kid ever show up again? Did anyone ever call Joe out on that? I felt bad for the kid. He did show up, like, I want to say possibly 3 to 6 months later. Like, it was not a short period of time. Because when I played basketball at Fayetteville State across the street, at that park, Seabrook Park, that's the hood. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I seen people get shot at out there. Obviously, I've seen multiple beat downs. I'm a college boy from out of the city, so, like, I'm just keeping my head down.
Right. A lot of those people live
Most
there.
of the people that I played basketball with at Seabrook Park didn't even know I went to school at Fayetteville State.
Right.
Many of them just thought I lived in Fayetteville and just played basketball, because I didn't play basketball with my college friends at the gym as much as I did with the hood dudes from across the street, because I felt comfortable around them more than I felt comfortable around the college guys. And so and ironically, my nickname was Jordan, but it's because they thought I was some other kid named something Jordan. I don't, to this day, I don't know why they would call me Jordan all the time. I'm like, it's not because I'm Michael Jordan. I don't know where the fuck that's coming from. Anyway, Joe dipped out for 3 to 6 months because, like, it was on site for him. And
I can see that.
Either he was gonna have to, like, shoot or beat somebody up, or them kids was gonna shoot and beat him up, and so he couldn't come out of court. And I remember, like, maybe a month after, no, maybe 2-3 weeks after the incident where he knocked that kid out, I was down there shooting by myself, just getting some shots up, and Joe parked way up the hill, because, you know, Black basketball court, they always make you park a good little trot away from the court, because in case somebody want to go get a gun, they shouldn't be able to, like,
had
just
them high
grab
ass
it.
gates and shit. Yes.
So he just parked at the top of the hill and looked down like, Jordan, and I looked up like, what's up, man? Where you been? You know, he's like, hey man, you seen them kids or whatever? I was like, they be out here, but they just not here today or whatever. He's like, all right. Just got in his car and left. I was like, guess I won't be seeing him for. He was just like,
he's like,
let it die down. And so
I had my time.
I think maybe 4 to 6 months later, I was playing ball up there, and like maybe even summer break had passed. Whatever happened, Joe came back down to the court when the dude that he had, the 16-year-old or 15-year-old he had knocked out, was there, and, like, apologized, and they dapped up, and they played basketball together, and that was the last I remember really hearing of it. But those kids were looking for him for months, and I remember talking to them them asking me if I had seen him, and them talking about what they was gonna do to him, and them being ready for him to pull up at any minute. And I really was just like, I hope I'm not here when this motherfucker shows up, because
that's the truth.
Someone's getting shot or beaten, and I don't want to be interested in being part of any of this story.
Yeah, I do not want to be the witness.
Yeah, but thank God it didn't happen. But yeah, that's basically what happened. And I felt bad for the kid, and I felt bad for Joe. That was also back in the days when my empath shit was just very strong towards people. But I felt bad because Joe's a 40-year-old man humiliated by a 15 or 16-year-old in front of that kid's friends and the rest of the basketball court, which is why I let Joe run with me the next game, even though I really didn't want to play with Joe, and we ended up losing, I believe.
Right.
Or maybe we won that game. I think we won against the kids and then lost the next game because, he was motivated to beat them kids. But I felt bad because, 40-year-old man getting punked by 15-year-old in front of all your peers. And for some brothers, basketball all they got.
Yeah, it is. So you have to be careful how you speak
And I don't
to
mean
people.
no hoop dream shit. I mean, like, that's their peer group. That's where they get their respect.
Right.
They don't get that respect at work. They don't get that respect in their personal relationships. They might not get that respect at the house, but they get that respect at the basketball
So
court.
you fuck with that, they will
And
fuck you up.
The OG, because he was the OG compared to many of us, got disrespected, and he hit this kid. And I think the kid just didn't know the consequences at the time that, 15, not beyond, 15, 16, not beyond getting punched by a grown man.
For some people, no.
So he found out that day.
Yep. Your chest cave in. You were like, oh, I ain't as strong and big as bad as I thought I was.
We got 7 YouTube comments on this episode. Let's see. In my experience, this is the real Lawrence. They left 2 comments. In my experience, acceptance is the root of the problem, in part because of my resistance to it. Really like y'all show, heart emoji. And also, Teresa Lawrence. I said there's a Lawrence.
That's hilarious.
Damn it. My bad. Teresa. There's a Lawrence. That name wouldn't even make sense, right? Anyway. Teresa says, love the segment when Sir Michael Harriet talks about Sir Michael Harriet. That sounds like he got knighted.
Oh, snap now.
When Sir Michael Harriet talks about what white people think, reminds me of Toni Morrison sharing the conversation she had with James Baldwin. Ancestor Morrison was told, paraphrasing, as soon as you get that little white man off your shoulder checking and critiquing everything you write, you'll be free to write what you want to write. For me, this explains the trauma behind colonization's biggest harm is double-mindedness. I agree. And I think about that a lot. And I want to make this podcast and all my art free of that. And I never try to sound condescending, but it happens sometimes when people ask me something and I have to like explain to them like, well, just for the record, I wasn't even thinking about what white people would think about this. It's just not. So if there's some way that this can be taken badly by white folks or good by white folks, it's the last thing on my mind, because their comfort or their uncomfort those are not things that mean much to me. I try my best to not even like things just because it makes white people feel uncomfortable. That's not a sign to me that is necessarily good or bad. White people do not necessarily operate on the same moral scale as us, depending on what their internal makeup is. And so, me saying or not saying the N-word has nothing to do with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, at all. We shouldn't say it because what if they say it? They invented it and they're gonna say it anyway.
Agreed.
And that's just one example. But I can't, well, if they see me saying it, then what? The people that enslaved our ancestors are gonna be morally uplifted because you didn't say nigga. Do you think that's how that works? That's not how that works. Say it for yourself or don't say it for yourself, but don't let them be the reason you do or don't do something with your art. They're not that important. You'll never find your way to being you, the individual, by observing yourself through the lens of whiteness. Because that lens dehumanizes you by its very existence. So you should not concentrate on that. Anything more than just like a creative device or like a comedic device, or beyond that, I have no use for it.
I 100% agree. Because it's one of those things you it's very hard to, but you have to almost deprogram yourself. And you can tell when you talk to people or when people consume stuff, they might not say it, but just the way they respond, sometimes their facial expression, you go, oh, you worry about what white people say. I get it. I get it. That's something that you have to kind of work through on your own. Or else your whole life gonna be about, what about them white folks? I can't live my life like that. I refuse and I can't.
Yep. VGB says, love this episode. I can relate to Karen in so many ways. I swear people think I'm weird, but come to find out, we say we think out loud. Ramsey PH Dunn says this episode was 5 stars. I'm a lifelong Cowboys fan, and yeah, here we are. Fly Eagles fly. EMK says, love the show again, although I gotta say vulgar is not a word I would use to describe your show. Hilarious and thought-provoking, but vulgar, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, I can see why NPR might think we vulgar. I also, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, what I'm supposed to do with the shit is fine. We curse. Oh no one's ever heard a curse word. Mad Fun Kid says, they not like us. Pay your proper taxes, Elon. Pay your proper taxes, Trump. Pay your proper taxes, Robert Barons. Fix the roads and bridges. Fix the safety issues. If they in the comment section of our podcast, they just got some words. I don't know if Trump and Elon listen to this. Jinxful says, Janisha is my goat. I love that. Oh man. Oh, but yeah. That for some reason the show art. Oh, that was weird. The show art on this showed a blank thing, but it's actually the episode's there. Anyway, all right. We got 2 more episodes, but I need a break to drink some water and stuff like that. So I'm gonna play another beat. This one's from Psycho Music called Gunsmoke.
Psycho
Music.
Oh, I forgot to do the poll. Did you watch Super Bowl? 70% yes. 30% no. All right. The next episode was Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl appreciation with our girl Bossy Ikpe. Let's see. We got 11 comments on the website. I may not be able to even read all the comments on the there's 34 comments on the YouTube, so more than likely we won't be able to get to all those because I do need to go to the gym today.
Okay.
Pamela M8 says, hello, Rod and Karen. I've been washed. I spend 3 times a week at the gym on the treadmill, and every day I'm going to be walking figure 8s in my living room until I hit my steps. Just last week, I dropped mad dollars on walking shoes because my feet were hurting. I got a pair of Cloud-like New Balance Fresh Foam 680 V8s, and they feel so good. Sound
like you're describing a car.
Right?
How many horsepower was in them shoes?
Well, you know what I always say. Shoes are the cars of the feet.
Come on. Yes, they are.
And they felt so good, I immediately got another pair. Did not care what color they were. Hokas are wonderful shoes. I'm also not a runner, but sturdiness and stabilization is more important for keeping feet pampered on long walks. Ronnie Raphael says, what a week we are having. We had Michael Harriet, Bossy Ikpe, and the only Uncle Sam I salute, K-Dot, and Captain America arrives too. Back to Serena Williams crip walking. Nobody can take this week from me. So much greatness, and I'm glad that I have the blackout tip to let me know I deserve it all. And so do you, fam. Drinks on me, Uncle Sam's tab. Apia says, I enjoy looking at his jeans. I never liked skinny jeans. I always liked his form of pants. Now skinny jeans seem like to be a sign of being a millennial, and now millennials are old-fashioned in the eyes of the youth. Oh, now I am old. I am accidentally in fashion just by surviving and not accepting skinny jeans pants ever. I did see an article that said his jeans were like women's size such and such or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't know anything about them jeans. Classic R&B lover says, hello, Rod and Karen. One, Hoka sneakers are the truth. I've been wearing them for about 3 years. They are the only sneakers I could walk for extended periods of time due to my Achilles tendon pain. They are also the only sneakers I felt supported in after I broke my toe. They are well worth the money you spend on them. 2, Karen, ignore Rod and his Cool Ranch Doritos slander. We all understood that when you said the chips have spice, you meant the black version of spice, meaning flavor. I just don't like that y'all are okay with my joke being killed, but fine, fuck it. We kill jokes now. 3, Karen, your description of Drake love bombing hip hop was dead on. And basically, he stalked his way into a career using and discarding everyone in his path. Once they serve their purpose, there's a reason why so many of the people who used to mess with the man can no longer stand him. It really is like a cult emotionally battered spouses. Kendrick saw it, escaped, never fell victim to it, and showed the world that the only way to deal with someone like Aubrey is to grit ball his ass. Shout out to Medea. 4, I love Bossy being 10 toes down on fighting anyone who is denigrating Kendrick. Proth says, hi Rod and Karen, thanks for the conversation on the halftime performance. Bossy's contribution was hilarious and insightful. Being in Australia, I can confirm the halftime show is around 12 noon. I managed to see it live when I caught one of my students watching the Super Bowl on their laptop. I usually shut it down, but when Kendrick hit the stage, I told him to put the volume up. I assume Drake slept into 2 p.m., but he's also a gambler, so I'm curious to know whether he saw the game or not. Right, you're right when you say Australia is the ass end of the planet, but we still get American TV, so Drake can't escape it. Love the show as always. Yeah, I figured that Drake wanted to be somewhere where he would not have to watch it. My guess is he thought Australia would be middle of the night, but or just so far away that the Super Bowl is not a event that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
But he loves sports culture so much that it has to hurt to not be able to say, I bet this much money on the Super Bowl, because he puts that out every year, and it's always an exorbitant amount of money. Simma says, I've been wanting to get one of those walking shoe assessments, but then I've had to spend $1,000 on my car, and my Watch Life Hokas will have to wait until next month. I enjoyed this Kendrick halftime show recap so much. Thank you for not only including Bossy, but mentioning her new podcast. I've been giggling at her Kendrick stand-up on Blue Sky and had no idea I could get more Bossy. Another great show. Yes. Love to see it. Synergy. EVE says, having Bossy on felt like listening to an episode of This Too Much. I hope you and Bossy can record a new episode soon. It's always a good show when she comes on. I love Kendrick's performance. It was the blackest Super Bowl halftime performance ever. And the icing on the cake was seeing Queen Serena crip walking. You just know Aubrey was shedding tears that night. Apparently, it's the most watched Super Bowl halftime show ever. So even if some people hated it, they were watching. Ray from the 804 says, hi Rod and Karen, great episode. I love the conversation I had with Bossy. I always enjoy listening to y'all talking about rap. Even when I'm not really into the rap you're talking about, y'all just have such a great perspective on it. I know a lot of people are tired of talking about the Drake of it all, but as a certified Drake hater, I will never be personally tired of it. The thing I find most weird about listening or reading about people talk about Drake right now is the sentiment that people are afraid of what happens if Drake goes away. Nigga, other artists will make other songs. I have so many other hater thoughts about Drake, but I'll just close by saying I really enjoyed Kendrick's halftime show, but I also completely understand why any other person would not have enjoyed it. Y'all are great. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, the big thing I found out about the halftime show that I think puts a button on some of the critique, apparently because Trump was there was a lot of pyrotechnics they couldn't do. Yeah. So when people say it didn't feel like a stadium show, it didn't feel like a Super Bowl show, it wasn't big. A lot of that fireworks, and they were going to have some like stuff where stars hit the ground when they were doing all the stars, and like just there's like 3 or 4 elements of the show they just could not do. And
because he's the president. Didn't he decide like last minute too?
I don't know if it's last minute, but it is a totally selfish thing for a president to decide to attend that game, and it's such a thing he would do. No other president does that. Just because you know what a burden it is to have your security detail and the rules and stuff. But he's such a vain narcissist that of course he did it. But yeah, it hurt the halftime show in that it was not the vision that Kendrick probably wanted for his show, where you did have a little bit bigger, boomier of a show, and you didn't get that because of Trump. Tommy D says the halftime show was lit. I can't tell you how many times I watched it this week. I'm writing this on Saturday at 6 a.m. I say thank you to MC Light every time she says welcome to the show. Watching it as I'm writing this, in fact, they used the 80 yards to make a 10-minute live music video complete with skits and unique sections. He wasn't on stage looking out at a crowd where all you needed was a stationary camera. Nope, front and center in the medium shot most of the time. Give the main camera person some flowers because they were keeping up. Kendrick is dancing over here. Oh wait, he's over there. Peekaboo. Oh snap, he's right in my face. My sister wants his pants. The whole thing was masterful. Slightly better than the 1995 Indiana Jones halftime show featuring Patti LaBelle and Tony Bennett singing "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" from The Lion King. Seriously, if you never watched Super Bowl 29's halftime, it is something to see. The show did have a downside for me personally, though. It reminded me that you missed my 5-star review on the January 10th on Apple. It was Kendrick theme and everything. I was distraught when I didn't hear it last week or next. I couldn't even play Sea of Thieves. I was so down. I'm good now, though. Took a nap, forgot about it until Kendrick. It's always good to hear Bossy. Good luck with the live show. I hope everyone has a ball. I'll look for that. I didn't know I missed it, so I'll check to see if I can find it.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes they just, if they don't submit it, they don't always be like, hey, it didn't go through.
Yeah, January 10th is what he said, so I'll see if I can find it. And what was the account? Tommy D. So I see okay, Tommy D. Here it is. It says, this is how Kendrick would say it like this. Who's pumping out those podcasts? Tell him Roderick did it. Who's pumping out those podcasts? Tell him Roderick did it. Who's talking on the premium? Tell him Justin did it. She be knowing that she loving it. Tell him Karen did it. 5 stars. 5 stars. Thank you.
Oh, that is
I don't know how I missed that one.
Adorable.
Because obviously I would have loved that one.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I didn't miss anybody else's shit.
Right.
Anyway, I can't. We're in the middle of this one. I'll come back and look later.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, Miss Barnes says, thank you, Rod and Karen, for another great show and having Bossy on with Chef's Kiss. And also, I wanted to say, welcome to the Hoka Club. I tried on a pair January last year, and I bought 5 pairs since. They are my walking. Okay, big baller. I see you, player. Say you tell me you got that money without telling me you got that guap.
We got people, they go, we believe in the feet. Like, we going to take care of these feet, so we going to get the Ferrari of feet shoes.
They are my walking shoes, workout shoes, work shoes, and running errand shoes. They are the best shoes. My Fleet Feet in town does assessment on your feet that you described, and when I heard that had the assessment done, it changed my life. When I walk, no more hip and leg pain. I learned that your workout shoes only have so much life in them, so I make sure to rotate my shoes when it's time for new ones. Making sure that I am on their rewards program because them shoes ain't cheap. However, at our adult age, we will splurge on them good shoes and that feel like walking on clouds. Mm-hmm. Yep.
As you get older, it's the shit that when you're younger, you don't care. Because, you know, when you're younger, you're like, oh, I just buy some shoes and these shoes can do everything. You get older, you be like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go ahead, like Roger said, the difference between you have a manual toothbrush and an electronic toothbrush. Like something that small can be like a hell of a difference.
And then I'll do a couple of the comments on YouTube, but like I said, there's 34 guys. I can't do them all.
Okay.
Tony Girl says, I was waiting on y'all's take. Thank you. Ditto, thank you all, says EMK. My mom said Kendrick Lamar is the GOAT. Happy Black History Awareness Month. Y'all are the GOAT too. Love, peace, blessings, and happiness. Thank you, Mom. I'm as smart as my feet feel, says Chris. Big Tojo says, when I say that I was so happy he made a statement and not played the game, I had my popcorn and was ready to watch him set the world on his head. Let's go. Jinxful says, love the Kendrick show. Can't wait for the tour to start. Some people were concerned about Kendrick's legacy being tied to Drake if he did not like us at the Super Bowl. And I partially understood where they were coming from, but they have to realize Dot is a competitor and really believes in that aspect of hip hop. Mm-hmm. I think he looked at it like battle rappers and athletes like boxers. Their whole careers are tied to wins or losses, so it's not really a concern for them that their legacy is tied to a big win. Dot performed and made Drake diss songs at the Super Bowl. Dot performed Mad Drake diss songs at the Super Bowl, but it was bigger than that. And as he continued to progress throughout his career, it will remain bigger than that. I think he looks at it like, y'all might get hung up on that, but I'm not. I'm on to the next thing. Excellent podcast as always, says Lovelyn. I challenge you all to discover Mick Jenkins. This is in all caps. Catalog, performances, interviews. Hate to say it, but he is only the outskirts of acceptance because he is the big black man at 6'5", but the likes of Thelonious Monk sending him beats, he is way too slept on. And to me, Mr. Morale is an interpretation of Mick's THC, the Healing Component album made years before Mr. Morale. He has also taken the same shots at all of them. To date, none of them to date have answered his war and rumors of war. You sound like Mick Jenkins. Mick Jenkins, did you write this? Mick Jenkins, be honest. Fly Mama 26666. Are you not Mick Jenkins? It's all caps. And then they sent a link to 2 Mick Jenkins performances.
I'm not clicking on them, baby.
This ain't no disrespect to Mick Jenkins, but come on. And then they also put in all caps, Kendrick did not mess up the lyrics. He intentionally changed and self-edited in real time, no backing track. Also, GNX was not newer than the diss tracks were at the time of the pop-up, as proved to him intentionally changing them. And I replied, no one said he messed up. And she said, yes, listen to Bossy. She said, and I paraphrase, I'm not sure if it was because the songs are newer, he fumbled a few lines and was afraid if he didn't catch it, folks would complain. Some folks listen well, and this is where I had to come in, but I was going to say something, but Candy 004 said it. Bossy wasn't talking about the Super Bowl performance. Fly Mama says, again, I marked the time, trust me, but thanks. And then replied later, get your comprehension up. Fly Mama, you're wrong and you're being a jerk. Bossy was talking about the pop out.
Yes.
When Kendrick first performed the songs at the pop out, which is before GNX came out, he flubbed a few of the lines when he did Not Like Us and and Euphoria, all that stuff, when the songs were almost brand new. It was his first time performing them live in front of anyone.
Yes.
And so what she was saying is that was different from the Super Bowl, where he clearly had spent time mastering and performing these songs and was ready to give us the full version.
Yes, so, that's exactly what Bossy said.
Yeah.
She was not talking about the Super Bowl. She was talking about the pop out, and how doing the pop out, she could tell that this was new. He was running for the first time.
All right, I'll move on. Yeah, we got it. But anyway, yeah, thanks to everybody that did the reply. I don't want to go back and forth with everybody, but Fly Mama, get it together. Okay, that's not what happened. All right, let's go to the last episode of the week, Tasting Lead. What was the name? Oh, and the poll was, did you watch Kendrick Lamar halftime? 90% did, 10% didn't, which means more people watched the halftime than the Super Bowl.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Super Bowl was like 70% or something, or 60-40, whatever, but this was 90%.
Yeah. They would say the number spiked, and as soon as he stopped performing, everybody went back to whatever the fuck they was doing.
All right, episode 3050, Tasting Lead. 6 comments. Appia says, maybe it's better that we have less child stars. They seem to do terribly as adults. One of Chris Cross is dead. Other examples I remember, Free Britney, are also bad. I wasn't talking about the child stars. I was talking about the children that we have that don't have any child stars to relate to. But Drake is a child star. He seems to be doing just fine.
He is a child star.
He's very rich. So, I mean, he alive.
Yeah.
What are we using to measure? So, because a couple child stars died, there's going to be no child entertainment. Obvious shame on you.
Yeah, we still need kids entertainment. It's like it's a whole genre. And it might be because they like, we ain't got time to invest in these kids. And you go, okay, now you got to.
Also, like, whenever a child star turns out fine, none of us ever use that as an example. Like, I guess it can be done. Whenever it's like Darlene from fucking, Roseanne, we're never like, oh yeah, that don't, like, she don't count. Only it's the ones that crash out.
Only the extreme ones.
Right. You like, oh, Willis from Different Strokes now. See, that's what a child star is. I don't know. Anyway, that's not the point. Some of the musician acts turn out fine. They still alive. They still with us. And also, adult stars turn out fucked up. I don't know.
Yeah, they do.
Lil Bow Wow might be fucked up. But he alive. He made it. And kids needed some Lil Bow Wow at the time. But at the same time, Puff Daddy didn't show up till he was 30. Okay.
You never know.
Shoe Booty says, I think that's not true, but anyway, he wasn't a child star. Shoe Booty says, I think kid creative rappers and musicians went the way of the dodo because it's annoying to adults who have to listen to it. And maybe our generation as parents are getting kids into the industry much less to protect them. Enough has come out with the Nickelodeon documentary and knowledge of child musician manager promoters that is seen for what it is, grooming and exploiting. I would push back slightly on that, Shoe Booty, and the reason I push back on that is because what parents are doing now is having their kids be social media and YouTube stars and shit.
Yes.
With even less regulation,
right,
and oversight than what you had at a Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Once again, Nickelodeon might be an example of like, oh, this child or this thing happened. But there's also plenty of people that come from Nickelodeon, like Raven Simone or somebody, where it's like, and it didn't happen to that person or nothing happened.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah, so like, I'm not saying it makes it right. I think what you and Appia both illustrated to me is my point, which is it's not that the kids changed, the parents got more paranoid.
Yes.
And the parents think they can protect their kids from stuff that essentially, I'm not saying parents accepted it or thought it was okay or even embraced it, but I think parents, when they didn't have overprotective means like a cell phone to monitor every single second their kid was anywhere, GPS in their pocket, you could go to the park. You could go to the park. All of us didn't get molested at the park. A lot of us just were kids and we did kid things at the park and we just accepted that that's what happens. But once you got a cell phone where I can track my kids' every movement, my brain can't help but be like, they're going to get kidnapped. Something's going to happen to them. I need to check the phone. Are they going to be? And we become hovering. We become, as more news inundates us, as the news leads with 3 murders every night, it just changes and warps our perspective. We know more and we become less connected. And I think it kills the kid part of being a kid. And they just kind of become little adults and little things that we monitor.
Right, and they don't have a space to actually be a child.
Yeah.
Children actually need children-specific spot, not toddlers,
right?
And maybe not teenagers. We're talking about like that middle age range right there. And the thing is, a lot of these shows, like I still watch some of them, like Nickelodeon. Like these shit still exist. Like they are still child stars, and they might not quote unquote be as big as they were when we were children. That's because most adults don't watch that shit, so they don't know who the current quote unquote child star, whatever is in that Nickelodeon, right. Disney Plus, Disney realm anymore. But these things do still exist, but they're harder to get to because a lot of these things, all jokes aside, used to be on like your basic cable. But now with everything being scattered and everything being on YouTube, on this place, on that place, like a lot of times it's hard to find these places. Everything got an app now. So a lot of these places, like everything else, they're so scattered now that it's very hard to find like a neutral thing that everybody can go, this is what all the children are consuming.
Right. And
it becomes actually also harder for parents because, you have to sit and watch and monitor these things.
Right.
And particularly, when Aaron has came on the Nerd Office and talked about YouTube, how you just can't sit your child down in front of YouTube thinking, oh, it's cute and colorful. You got to sit down and listen and watch that shit. When guess what? When it was Disney Plus and Nickelodeon, you knew certain shit wasn't going to happen because it was quote unquote child oriented.
Mm-hmm. And now we have these stories about kids being into Twitch streamers and the Twitch streamer turns out to be a fucking Nazi. And it's like, yeah, I don't think that would have happened on Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
not everything was bad back in the day. Not everything is good now.
Right, and also, and things happen, and nobody's perfect, but there were some rules and regulations that were actually designed for the protection of the children.
Ronald Raphael says, man, I was ready and fired up about to drop a comment about kid rappers when you activated the Angry Voter News. I thought I would switch my comment to that. Then I saw Drake versus Bud and I said, what the fuck before I could recover, you dropped Coon, Time, Traveling, Gone Wrong. Candace Owens, I quit. I don't even remember to ask for Stephen A. Smith voice. I forgot about him too. This too much. I'll go submit a guest array story. Turn the TV off. Sean says, you two were in the bag in this episode, and Candace bit, which started around 134, was amazing. Will make a nice clip. The only thing that could have been better is if Rod had added, or worse yet, sugar after he said they would put rat poison in his grits by day 2 when talking about Stephen A. Great episode, worth listening to twice, thrice, or thrice. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Evie says, Candace Owens looked like she was Tootie's cousin who got kicked out of school for cheating in a very special facts of life. She looked like she used to hang out with Penny in good times. She looked like her mama made stovetop stuffing and she helped. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Nah, that's funny. Miss Barnes says, the fact that I did the channel switching in my TV head for those Candace jokes was hilarious. I knew every joke, and yes, I prepared to go to bed at 7:30 p.m. and wear comfortable hose because I'm old. Yeah, that was definitely old people jokes.
yeah, you literally have to be of a certain age, and you have no idea who the fuck we were talking about.
And we got 10 comments on this episode on YouTube. Wow. Let's see. Dark Namja, just some emojis. The jokes about Candace Owens says so. Sayida, some laughing emojis. Anime Prince says, remember when were told how much we were told to care about national security. We spent an entire election talking about Hillary's emails, a server, how she was being so secretive, putting our confidential information at risk. Meanwhile, Trump has stolen, blabbered, and put someone that's been could have been a counterintelligence nightmare in charge of top secret information. Nobody seems to care as much compared to Hillary, far lesser offense.
That's why I don't want to hear shit.
Dark Ninja says smoking out of the beverage can is not new. They were doing that back in the 70s with Mary Jane. Carrie Moon says it's new to Karen is the point.
Oh yeah,
Carrie
I'm
Moon,
a square.
just got my virtual ticket as the video started. So excited, can't wait. Will be my second time. Oh, and I think I was wrong. I think we have more VIP tickets available than I thought, because I looked at the total last night and it seemed like maybe we got like 10 to 13 left. Yeah. So between now and the 28th, it is possible to still get VIP tickets if you want to do the meet and greet.
Yes.
JV City says, "Fuck with your soul in ether. My heart skipped the beat when you drop the beat." Amy says, "Sorry, but Candace looks like a Jackson 5 member."
Oh
no! Right? She looks like Bruce Leroy's little brother. Christoph says, "As a Northerner, I'm here for the," and I'm not saying it to misgender her. I'm saying go look up that movie. The fro and the clothes.
She looked like she was one of the background people in Show Enough. I am the last dragon. Who's the toughest? Show Enough. She'd have been in the background.
Christoph says, "As a Northerner, I'm here for the new segment. Speak on it, Karen." Gina says, "Joe Clark told her to move expeditiously more than once. She is 1,000% in that auditorium scene." Jason says, "I found it extremely disappointing that Rod immediately got defensive rather than asking if maybe there was a way he could improve his thunderstick skills. Many games are won at the free throw line. Fun fact, Candace's school photo was taken at Cooley High."
Oh, no!
Sad fact, she lost her, I guess, after school job after Show Enough smashed up Daddy Green Pizza. Oh, man. Three The Last Dragon references in one episode. That's crazy.
That's hilarious.
That's funny, though. All right, and then the poll was, do you think Michael B. Jordan would do another movie with Jonathan Majors?
Yes.
98% of the audience says yes. 98%. I think he will. I really do. I think he's putting it out there. It didn't seem to be much pushback. We'll really won't be able to tell until we really won't be able to tell if there's going to be pushback until they drop a trailer or something.
Right.
And if people then go, fuck this, I don't want, then we'll see something happen with that. But I expect them to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's play some music and then go to voicemails. I'll play another DJ Jaffa new song. Got voicemails. This first one is from a local number, so who knows if this might be like a wrong number.
Puro speak Spanish, señora.
Okay, yep, that's definitely a wrong number.
Yes.
We got another voicemail. Let's see what this person called.
Rod and Karen.
Okay.
Best podcast in the business. Found you guys through listening to Bamani years ago. He had a throwaway comment. Googled you guys and been hooked ever since.
Oh.
I am a well-adjusted, quote-unquote successful 40-something-year-old black man, and I come to you guys with a serious and a perspective. That is not the reason for the voicemail. The reason for the voicemail is that I was on the treadmill when you guys did the Candace Owens picture segment and damn near killed myself. That is all. Keep doing what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Be safe out there. That's hilarious.
That's the best kind of feedback. And I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad you're still with us. I
I'm
wasn't trying to kill you.
But
it warms my heart to know that y'all found that as funny as I found making those jokes. Cause
I was having a ball going down my memory bank.
Especially when I saw the vast majority of the online jokes were just like, she a man. And I was like, that's
y'all missing.
There's something funnier than that. There's something beyond that. But
yes.
Anyway, Lily left the last two voicemails.
Hey, Rod and Karen. This is Lily from
Oh,
Brooklyn.
Lily, my bad.
Been taking a break from social media and podcasts, but I did way back in this week. I wanted to hear you guys take on Kendrick. But in catching up on your episodes, I did hear an episode where I think Karen's banter was thinking about her mom and talking about her missing her mom and her grieving. And it really hit for me because my mom's birthday was just the other day. And even though she's been gone for a little over 10 years, of course, it's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her. And I could really relate to all the things Karen was saying about, you know, what it's like to lose somebody and grieve them and how it never really leaves you. And so I just thought it was beautiful sentiments. And thanks for that, Karen, because I remember once someone telling me, when are you going to get over that? And I'm never going to get over the loss of anybody who means so much to me, and especially my mom. So, yeah, just wanted to say thank you for that. Bye.
Thank you. And that's one reason why I emphasize people telling people to get over it, because a lot of times people actually think that they're actually helping. And sometimes they can be very close to you, but they actually don't understand, particularly if they haven't lost a parent or a sibling or somebody really, really close to them, or their quote unquote way of dealing with their grief is running away from it. So they think that's the answer to give you, is to quote unquote get over it. But it's one of the things where it never goes away. It just becomes you learn how to live your life with this hole that will be there for the rest of your life. And the thing is, initially it's a huge hole, and eventually it gets smaller, but the hole is still there, and the hole won't go away, and the hole will never close. And guess what? That is okay. And the thing that I had to realize about grief and grieving and going through the grief process is that your grief is your grief. You go through it in your own timing. You deal with it how you choose and how you opt to deal with it. Some people deal with it in various different ways. Some people might cry. Some people might do something that person loved to do. Some people might choose to go out to movies, whatever it is, to remember that person, because the thing is, you will never forget. And you might be just doing things and something will trigger something. That's why I say it's something that you will always live with, and it's okay. And my thing is, and people actually think that they're helping, but it does not help somebody when they're grieving to tell them to get over it and move on, because what you're telling them is that I don't know how to process my feelings, or I don't want to deal with your feelings. So because of that, or I'm uncomfortable with feelings, or I don't want to deal with you crying or being depressed or whatever it is, like I don't want to deal with that. There's a proper way to talk to somebody that's going through a grieving process without actually just telling them that to just get over it and move on. Because in my mind, sometimes that's kind of the worst thing you can say to somebody, because like I said, as somebody who's going through the process and continue to go through that process forever, and like I said, talk to older people and they will talk about a friend, a family member, or a loved one, and it's been 40, 50 years, and the tears and the feeling in their eyes like it just happened yesterday. And so that let me know right there that this is something that you will actually live with for the rest of your life. And guess what? It's okay. It's okay. When these feelings come, allow them to come. Don't run away from them. Don't shy away from them. I know social media tell you that emotions are weak. I know social media tells you, and the things online tells you that you're supposed to be strong, and the only emotion you're supposed to have is anger. Like that's the only emotion that's valid. It's anger and mad and protesting, and all these other emotions just show that you're weak. This is not true. You're a human being. We have a range of emotions for a reason. Process it, because once you get to the other side, you will become a better person. And what I've realized too, if you don't process your grief, a lot of times you will not be any good for anybody else, because sometimes you processing your grief can actually help the people around you, particularly if you are like a parent or somebody else is depending on you. You have to process that so that you can move on and help other people around you possibly deal with it like you are, because there's somebody else depending on you. And so it's very hard to stay stuck. I didn't say move on. It's very hard to stay stuck.
Yeah, I just can't imagine anyone fucking saying that to somebody. The audacity of somebody to be like, just move on. That's crazy to me. Like when you said that, I was just like, did somebody say that to you? You know, because I would cuss them out. That's fucked up, you know? But I know people don't have empathy, or maybe they think they're helping, but that just seems like
think they're helping.
Someone tells you that loved one died and saying move on just is very inappropriate. Lily left another voicemail.
Hey, this is Lily from Brooklyn again. Okay, so I just finished listening to you all's episode where you were talking about David Schwimmer and asking Elon Musk to take Kanye. So you probably by now seen that video that some prominent people have done where they're wearing these like fuck Ye or fuck Kanye t-shirts. And it's David Schwimmer, you know, Jerry Seinfeld, Mark Zuckerberg. And it's just really wild to me how they can come after Kanye, like you said, but not, how about Elon? How about a fuck Elon shirt? I mean, as you said, he did the Nazi salute 2 times at the inauguration. So what's up with that? You know, and then also what is wild about that video is they have Woody Allen in it. Woody Allen. Like, so the hypocrisy, as you always saying, just ridiculous. Living in New York, we did not vote for Bullethead Adams and hope he gets voted out this year.
Me too, baby.
And also, you guys cracked me up with those TV shows starring Candace Owens. Hilarious. I was on the floor. And also the latte stain. Hilarious. So please keep it up. We need some information, but we also need some levity because 3 weeks in. Yep. All right. Peace out, y'all.
The one thing I will add, Lily, is that video is AI. So that's not a real video. And the reason I know it's AI is because Scarlett Johansson came out and said, this is I did not make this video. I did not give anyone permission to use my likeness to be in this video.
Oh, I know that gotta be terrible when you be like, hey, y'all frying me, but this ain't real.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're on Ye's side or what, or Elon, but it's just like these videos are fucked up.
Yes, they are.
You know,
and there needs
especially for these artists that get paid for their likenesses.
Yes, and the thing is, the people that would have put fucking regulation on this AI shit, y'all didn't put them in charge. Now it's no regulations. So, you know, people just gonna be do AI and left and right, and people gonna be like, it ain't me, and they're gonna be really serious, it ain't me. Like, it's gonna take one of these companies getting flat just sued by a celebrity. Like, is some shit that's gonna have to go to court, or either one company is gonna take another company's shit, or somebody gonna upload some shit from one of these companies and remake their movie and AI it, and then they gonna sue them, and then they gonna start putting rules and regulations, because right now it's the wild wild west and it's not right. We need to be able to tell the difference.
All right, now to go to some voicemails. Well, I'll play one more beat. This one is also DJ Jaffa, and it's called Tomorrow.
I like that.
Me too. Deep Seek proves Rod was right. This is from Brooks V, who says, hello. I hope you and Karen are doing well. I've been listening to the podcast for about a year. I recently became a paid subscriber. Let's go.
Whoop, whoop, behind the paywall.
I have enjoyed many of the topics you've covered in your guest. I've also enjoyed your comments about AI and how it's nothing but a grift. China spent $5.6 million and use less powerful NVIDIA GPUs because of sanctions to develop DeepSeek R1. It was a gangster move that they released this information after the $500 billion Stargate OpenAI announcement. Yeah, and it tanked them. that shit was bad for the markets, for everything, because it was proof that you don't got to spend all this fucking money to make this AI, and you don't need all the highest level of technology, which China was sanctioned out of having, and it just tanked all the investment in those like
good, like what made it tank? I'm trying to understand.
That part of the AI stuff is this mystique around it needed to take a lot of money and investment and
a lot of manpower
and so when China just puts out their shit that's just as good if not better than OpenAI and some of the products they have, and they let the source code be open. Now if you want to put that Chinese source code on y'all shit, that's on y'all, but
I wouldn't do that.
Basically they just said like, hey, here's the blueprint and you can have it.
Oh, you got it.
So these other companies are gearing up to be like, invest in us, we're gonna announce this, we're gonna sell it. And it's like if somebody was like, hey, new Porsche coming out on the 15th, and then someone just drove around and was like, Ferrari's free to everybody, anyone can drive it in the neighborhood. It's not a Porsche, but it's a fucking Ferrari, and you was walking before. So like, it just fucks up the market, because now that Porsche is a lot less valuable to people that got free Ferraris. So it kind of fucked up the market for them.
I see what you're saying, and it caused all this other investment to tank. Cause they was like, the fuck we invested in this shit for when they just coming out of the woodworks giving out shit for free.
Allegra says, Camp Contraband. Hey, you two. Listen, Karen, you are not crazy. Years ago when I said the goal is slavery, when you first said the goal of slavery, it's so simply and elegantly put into words what I was feeling then and continue to feel. This is also in line with people's denial of how racism, misogyny is in the DNA of America, which is something I've been saying for years, in the same vein as Karen's proclamation. People do not want to hear it, and now some of those who doubt it are beginning to see.
Right.
I'm also less reticent to bite back my words, maybe because I'm over 50 and a black woman, perhaps because I'm tired and or it's time to stop thinking of people's feelings. Well, also you tall too, so I feel like you might could like intimidate people, look down at them like, I said what I said, what you gonna do?
They gonna be like, okay, you got it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, my bad. Either way, this election took away whatever tolerance I have for diplomacy and tender feelings, especially since me and mine feelings have never truly been considered. Keep on speaking, Rod, Karen, and Michael, because you're not crazy. Folks are just now catching up. Keeping my eye out for Contraband Camp.
Yes, and also is one of those things too, to where a lot, in my opinion, a lot of people fucked up when they was like, particularly on the right, and some people on the left, but on the right, when they were like, fuck your feelings, fuck like that was a big thing. And so I realized nobody considered my feelings, because there's a lot of shit that happened. And I know I wasn't the only one that felt certain ways about certain things. And a lot of the loud and wrong people were the loudest. And there were people that was like, y'all are wrong. Y'all are talking crazy. Y'all don't have a connection to blackness. What the fuck? Y'all don't represent everybody. Y'all just out here talking and saying stupid shit. And what you're saying doesn't make any sense. And what you're saying, you're throwing out apathy. You're causing people not to care. You're telling them both sides are the same. Like y'all, this shit don't matter. And people have been like, hey, y'all are not the only ones that have feelings, and y'all are not the only one that care. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people did a lot of performative shit this last election. A lot of it was fucking performative, and you can't tell me anything different. And the reason why I say it was performative, a lot of people performed about Palestine, a lot of people performed about Jill Stein, a lot of people performed when they protest for Kamala. A lot of it was performative. Not all of it. There was some people out there that was really about marching, but a lot of what people were doing was performative for clicks, for likes, because you had the luxury to do it, and you did not realize how important these things were and these things mattering. And somebody like me going, it is a cost to you doing this bullshit. It is not time to play. It is not time to act like, it's the same. And somebody like me is going, this right here, I'm tasting Hillary Clinton. And everybody act like, you don't know what you're talking about. We'll vote for the nigga, but we ain't vote for that white woman, okay? That like that's what y'all like. I'm keeping it real. That's what y'all told me. Y'all told me this, okay? Y'all told me this. So I was like, okay, Okay. I'm gonna set all my feelings to the side. I am gonna set all my feelings to the side. Y'all get out there. Y'all do y'all thing. I'm wrong. I'm crazy. I'm a lunatic because I said that Joe Biden should have never stepped down. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if he had a goddamn stroke on screen. He was still getting my motherfucking votes. Okay, me personally. Y'all told me my feelings didn't matter. Y'all told me I was crazy. I was a lunatic. Shut the fuck up, bitch. He old. He senile. He gonna die tomorrow. And I had to hear the media tell me on every goddamn podcast. Everybody was telling me that I was motherfucking crazy when I was. And I know I wasn't the only one when we were out here saying, hey, y'all, this shit don't sound right. This shit don't look right. There's something wrong here. People need to pay attention. I want to win, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Go with the flow. She loses. I ain't trying to be funny. I don't want to hear shit now. This is my opinion. I don't want to hear shit. Fuck your feelings. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Because I'm to the point where I let y'all talk. Now let me talk. But see, y'all was talking. And I got quiet because I said, y'all got it. Y'all telling me that I'm crazy. Y'all telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, cool. I didn't say nothing. Now, y'all gonna have to deal with somebody like me going, I told you so. With somebody like me going, kiss my ass. With somebody like me going, I don't want to hear. With somebody like me going, we told you. You're going to hear it because it was fuck my feelings. So now it's fuck your feelings. And it don't feel good when you have opinions and you want your voice to be heard and you can see things and people telling you that you're crazy and you're a lunatic. You know, like it doesn't feel good. And people are getting it for the first time when they're coming out here crying and falling out about their VA being cut, their Medicaid and Medicare being cut. They're losing their farms. They're losing their houses. They're losing their jobs. They're being deported. Their family members are being gone. This is shit that I didn't want to happen. This is why I was like, hey, y'all, this don't look right. But y'all had it. Y'all had it, though, right? Y'all had it, though, right? Y'all had it, okay? Now you don't. Now we all sitting in this goddamn shit show because of the decisions that y'all made. We all here now. And so since we all are here now, y'all gonna have to hear me talk about this until I get over it, until I feel better.
Yeah, I agree completely. Couldn't say it better. And I try to come on here and not do too much angry, like ranting and shit, but I feel that way all the time. Every single episode, every time we talk about something could turn into a bitch sesh, as people call it. I'm trying not to revisit that because I don't find it to be necessarily productive. But those are my feelings. And everybody's so fucking worried about their feelings being validated or assuaged or whatever. And I've always been team, let's put our feelings aside and do the right thing. We don't need to be patted on the back and feel like heroes. But everyone's talking about how to get this coalition back together. And they just keep talking about people like us as if they're taking us for granted, for one, because we're the mature ones that are like, no, we're going to do the right thing. And we always do. But they also keep talking to us like we need to do something. We didn't do anything wrong. Right. We didn't contribute to any of this negativity. None of us who did the right thing at the polls were telling anybody anything that was going to stop them from also doing the right thing. So actually keep your marching instructions and tell them to somebody who did the wrong thing. If you want to go convince those 19 million people to go back to the booth the next time, go get to work. We don't need to have a conversation. I'm not doing that work. And it seems like every time you try to talk to somebody and lecture the rest of us, it sounds like what you're really saying is, can you go do this work? No. That's what we did last time.
I did my part.
We did as much as we could to tell people, like, here are the reasons you do not want to sit this out. Here are the reasons you don't want to vote for Trump.
Right.
I'm planning on doing that the next time and for the rest of my life. Like, not because I'm doing it in service to you or anyone else. That's just how I think and what I believe the responsibility of having the platform we have. That's what I believe it's for. I would do that, period. But as far as like, guys, we need to go be nice, you go be nice.
You go talk.
And while you're at it, be nice to me too, bitch.
Right.
Because if you got time to literally watch if you got time to go suck up to the people that told you kiss my ass during November of last year, then you damn sure got time to talk to me nice. When you start handing out the lectures, you got time to skip over me, because I ain't the one that was in the way. So let's just keep it factual. So that's like I said, we could literally do this every episode. I don't really like repeating over and over. It doesn't make me feel better, and it just feels like, it's one of the reasons we're covering a little bit less political news and the minutia of it, because this is on my mind every fucking day I wake up.
Yes, sir.
So I don't want to keep doing this shit over and over, but yeah, be nice to me too. I ain't got time for this. Guys, what we need to do is you go to TikTok and do it. Find them motherfuckers and do it.
I did my part.
Kat says, halftime show. Hi, Ryder Karen. Been thinking about how to summarize all the thoughts and feelings since I watched Kendrick's halftime show. I'm not one to run to social media to engage with nonsense to throw my opinion around, so I'm going to say it plain and clear. That shit hit my soul. I have rewatched it multiple times since on YouTube, and I have researched his lyrics. Without trying to overreach, I have a question. Is Kendrick our new MLK? No. Even when he was dogging on Drake, that shit is still deeply cultural. I was only a fringe fan of his, and I'm not going to run it now and say I'm a fan, but after researching his lyrics, I can see he has multiple awards and a Pulitzer. Love you both. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'll keep listening. Kath also wrote in later to say that he was saying mustard, not mustard. That is also wrong. He's definitely saying mustard for DJ Mustard, the person that made the beat.
His name is DJ Mustard.
Yeah. But no, he's not MLK, and he don't want to be.
He sure don't.
If you go listen to Mr. Morale, I know it's a tough listen. Go listen to that. Listen to a song specifically called Savior, and you can hear him say, I don't want to be your savior. I don't want to be the black leader. I don't want to, I want to make my art centers around blackness and black people because I'm black. But I'm not the leader, the person to try to save everybody. I know that that's not me. Doesn't mean I don't have opinion. Doesn't mean people shouldn't listen. Doesn't mean I don't think my message is important. It just means I don't think I'm Jesus. And so, yeah, don't put that on somebody that don't want that. Idris says, hi, I just wanted to chime in about Jonathan Major's reemergence, so to speak, and its correlation to Trump. I completely agree that having someone like Trump as president lowers the bar for civility and decorum and what society considers acceptable behavior. In auditing classes in college, we learned that the tone at the top of an organization sets the vibe for the company as it relates to ethics and employee conduct. I can't help but think that is also true for a country. From the bickering in Congress to the expletive-filled rant by Jamie Diamond Chase CEO about working from home to the out-of-pocket campaign ads this past cycle, it's all because of Trump. Anything goes, everything's forgivable, and rules are optional. Sadly, this is the new age of America. If Jonathan has truly learned from his past, then I wish him the absolute best. P.S. I'm 9 years in and still look forward to every show. Love you guys, Idris. Thank you, Idris.
Hey, thank you.
And yeah, and that's the other thing too. Don't get it twisted. I am 100% a person that if you take accountability, change actions, you made a mistake. I just don't have it in me, just the way I'm made, to completely hold a grudge on people.
Right.
You have to really be a unrepentant repeat offender type of guy for me.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I don't forget. And at the same time, I don't look at people that consistently keep fucking up and just start papering over it. Like, I see people do that for Chris Brown all the time. I can't do it with Chris Brown. I'm sorry. He kept fucking up. I get why his name's no good.
Right.
Whether you agree or disagree, I think you should be able to at least go, no, I can see how it wasn't like one thing, or it wasn't like, oh, and then he stopped and like 10 years ago. Like,
it was years of
stuff keeps happening, and it's hard because he's embraced I'm a bad boy and for whatever reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I could totally see somebody like Jonathan Majors working again and being like, yeah. Now, first, don't mean he a good or bad person. It just means I've seen it enough that I'm like, yeah, he can work again, because it wasn't 12 women, or it wasn't all illegal. Or he's so talented. I've seen it. What Brad Pitt introduced this fucking Super Bowl. I've seen it. So, but yeah, I always hope that people are contrite and they really do believe that shit. I really do hope that's the truth, because obviously the worst thing that can happen is that he's an unrepentant, fucked up, evil person, and more people are being harmed, and and all this shit is fake, and I mean that would suck. I'm always rooting for people to have truly learned a lesson and move in a more positive direction, because people do make mistakes. I ain't made that mistake, but people do make mistakes, and some people make horrible mistakes. People have killed people and shit, and they can still find a way to contribute to society and to the greater good. So last one is from John. ADL, Super Bowl, etc. Morning, Rod and Karen. The Anti-Defamation League has a long history of doing great work in calling out and educating us about anti-Semitism, but sadly it's been run by an asshole MAGA dude, Jonathan Greenblatt, for the past several years, and it's turned into a bit of a joke. Oh, see, I didn't know that. It kind of is like the NAACP was taken over by Jason Whitlock. So the bullshit response about Elon Musk's Nazi salute wasn't surprising at all. There are still some great people doing excellent work at the ADL, like Mark Pitcairn, who chronicles and studies white supremacist militia movement, but anything that comes out from the ADL's main account is now usually really gross, racist, and sadly perpetuates the racist stereotypes of Jewish people weaponizing and exaggerating claims of anti-Semitism. Oh, that might also be a thing that really hurt during this Palestine shit, is you got a MAGA dude, because like behind the scenes, the Palestine thing is real fucked up, because if you take a poll of just Jewish people, there are many Jewish people who are, if not pro-Palestinian, at least anti the genocide of Palestine.
Yeah, they're like, don't kill them people.
If you just took a poll of American, now they over here, so
That's
I know it's different than being over there, but even over there, if you take a poll, there are many Jewish people who are like, we don't agree with the amount of bombing and stuff that's happening.
Right.
But if the person at the top is MAGA, they also benefit from the idea of people going, Joe Biden is Genocide Joe, and Donald Trump, he can't be any worse. If that's the calculus that'll get us to Donald Trump as president, which is what I want because I'm MAGA, fuck it. Let's just be silent on let's let this happen.
Right.
So yeah, anyway, and dudes like Greenblatt are very much outliers to their community. Much of the Jewish friends absolutely despise that fucker and what he's done previously. Great organization, and how his bullshit actually helps make the world less safe for them. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, ADL, I don't know. That's probably not an elected position, but it's kind of like how people talk about Bibi Netanyahu, where it's like, no, we actually think he's like a right-wing conservative crazy dude that keeps starting all these fights and stuff so he can stay in power. And I'm like, man, how do you get someone like that out of power? But I guess America about to go through that right the fuck now, so I don't know.
Yes, we are.
Really enjoy the passionate discussion about Kendrick's halftime performance. I know it wasn't for me, and I respect that, and I love when artists do stuff that doesn't center their white gaze, or even challenges it. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but I knew the whole time that probably 75% of it was going over my head, and then I get to appreciate hearing you all or whoever dissect all the meaning, symbolism, etc. I love that shit. Whether it's K-pop, feminist movies, Jewish comedy, novels by transgender authors, etc. It's always fun to learn other perspectives through the lens of other cultures. Art, passion is really about what it's all about. I may not understand it, but that's okay. I can feel the sincerity and passion and always appreciate that. Yeah, I'm so surprised by how we have so much more content than ever by people who are different from each other than ever. And people just want to go back to their same shit over and over. Mm-hmm. I just listen to 90s hip hop forever for the rest of my life. I'm like, nigga, you never gonna learn nothing?
Nostalgia is
I do want to know what somebody else think about something. It enlightens me. It helps me navigate. And sometimes it just teach you what you don't like. It's like, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah, and that's true. And I am better than I used to be. There are a lot of artists that I just kind of branched out because of Cowboy Carter. I found, a lot of black country artists that I literally didn't know existed. And it's more my speed. It isn't kind of not trying funny. The old school country is more of hip hop country, which I actually like a lot. I didn't realize I liked that genre of music a lot. And Roger has introduced me to a whole bunch of new artists. Like, I know they've probably been around for a long time, but like Earth Gang and some of these other people who I wouldn't have even thought about, listening to. And you be like, okay, that's cool. But it's some people who they won't try. You be like, am I in my opinion, you're never too old to like new shit.
Yeah. And we have so much content. I'm not just talking music too, like social media, podcasts. There's so many ways to hear other people's perspective. Books, you know, I always say people go off vibes that they don't do the reading. And you could tell. And I mean people, maybe they don't have time, I don't know, but they don't. There's a lot of times where like, and I accept vibes for the record. I'm not so fucking uptight that I'm like, you know, you need to read Ta-Nehisi Coates. You're going to be a white person around me. But
I ain't read it all.
But I understand vibes is cool, but to me, vibes is not enough in a lot of cases. It's better for you to do the reading. Because that's where the real knowledge is. And by do the reading, I mean, maybe I listen to this podcast, it's by trans people, and they talk about trans issues every week. So now I'm not just ignorantly saying what I think. I'm hearing someone with some experience. Maybe they're good, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, maybe I agree, maybe I disagree. But it's now a perspective I wasn't getting.
Right.
You know, I read this book. It's about feminism, and it's from this prominent feminist. Okay, you might disagree, but at least you went to where the fucking knowledge was to disagree. And with art like music and stuff, I like that too. I like that feeling of like, I don't know what this means. And even I don't know what everything Kendrick say mean. So anyway, I was even pleasantly surprised at a number of white people who absolutely did not get Kendrick's performance and probably didn't even particularly enjoy it, but knew well enough to keep that shit to themselves. I know it's setting the bar very low, but I salute them, LOL. Yeah,
I do too, because everything ain't for you, particularly here in America. Whiteness is just whiteness, and everything's supposed to be quote unquote catered toward whiteness, and them not understanding the whole world fucking falls apart, but everybody else is supposed to deal, because there's a lot of white shit that we have to consume. I don't know what the fuck it is, and sometimes I don't care.
Let me go back to my original statements. I do not salute them. I don't diss them. I don't care. It wasn't for them. And I think it's maddening to get stuck on them. Like, I've seen people make content about the white folks that don't get it, the white folks that don't understand, the white folks that are doing it wrong. And, hey, man, that's like getting mad at the waves at the beach. They're not going to stop.
No, they're not.
I'm not wasting my valuable black mind on any of the shit and how white people consumed it. Until they make it my business, I don't care. So they don't like it because they didn't understand. That's what I expected. You know, like, it is what it is. I'm glad that he had that stage and got the message across he wanted to get. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all, that's it. We'll be back throughout the week. Thanks for listening. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Peace.